Our story takes place at Jiangyang University, where our protagonist, Shen, a second-generation rich kid, steps out of his supercar, flaunting his wealth in front of everyone. Not only does he arrive in style, but he's also dating the university's second-year goddess from the flight attendant class. Onlookers can hardly believe that Shen, who has just hardly started his college, is already involved with such a prominent beauty. Naturally, when someone is both wealthy and attractive, they tend to have first choice in partners. In Shen's case, it's more than just first choice. He practically has a monopoly. Numerous first-year goddesses are head over heels for him, and ordinary students figure they'll stay single throughout college. After all, who wouldn't want to date a second-generation rich kid? However, Shen's lavish, spendthrift lifestyle envied by everyone comes to an abrupt end during his junior year. His family's 3 travel agencies go bankrupt, leaving them with $1 million in debt. Those who once called him Big Brother and surrounded him every day now refuse to even look at him. One by one, his old fair-weather friends disappear, shunning him as if he's plagued. His parents and sister are squeezed into a small, rented apartment, and Shen, who used to show up to college in a luxury car, finds himself moving back into a dorm. With things as they are, the carefree life he once knew is gone. He's not even sure if he can afford a decent existence anymore. Then comes another blow. His girlfriend, Jo, breaks up with him. She tells Shen not to contact her again, and hopes he finds a more suitable partner. Shen is shocked. After 3 years together, she's ending things so abruptly. Jo explains there was never any real love between them, and that they were only together for convenience. She also warns him never to call her Ting again, wishing to cut all ties. With that, she gets into a friend's car, which has come to pick her up. Shen forces a smile and stops her, asking her to return the designer bags he bought for her, since she apparently won't need them anymore. Outraged, Jo accuses him of being shameless. She points out that all he ever gave her were a few crappy bags, yet now he wants them back. Shen calmly responds that if she refuses to return them, they can't truly break up. Gritting her teeth, Jo looks ready to explode, but her companion in the car urges her not to let it bother her. The older man beckons Ting to get in the car, and then asks Shen if he needs a ride. Shen is infuriated that this man dares to call her Ting, a nickname she refused to let Shen use. He curtly declines the ride, saying his dorm is close by. The man advises Shen not to take the breakup too seriously, and even offers to drive him home for his safety. Shen, suspecting they think he's a fool, insists he's fine. He tells the man that Jo Wanting is a good woman and to take care of her in the future. After all, men should give women the best. Then, as a final jab, Shen reveals some of Wanting's private preferences. She loves Okamoto 001 condoms, prefers regular stockings over fancy ones because they're more comfortable, and especially enjoys nurse and police uniforms in bed. Enraged, the man quickly drives off. As Shen watches them leave, he wonders if Jo made the right decision for herself and hopes her choice leads her to a better life. Just as he contemplates how to rebuild his own, a mysterious system window appears before him. Confused and alarmed, he wonders if he's dying or hallucinating. The window explains that it's the perfect life system. If Shen spends money on female partners, he'll be reimbursed triple the amount. The system initiates a time-limited task, instructing him to spend money on a woman who's of suitable age, has an affinity level over 60, and to earn her admiration. If he succeeds, his expenditures will return to him multiplied by 3, and if her affinity rises by 3 points, his refund will double again. The only requirement is that the money must come from Shen's own savings or cash. Shen is stunned, unsure whether to believe this is real or just a prank. Before he can think further, his teacher, Li Xiao, calls out to him. She's heard about the breakup and tells him not to let it stress him. After all, it's just a breakup. She offers a comforting thought. If it's over, the next one will be better. Encouraging him that he can find someone far better than Jo, she notices Shen seems distracted. Shen then realizes he can see numbers, like an affinity level, floating above Professor Li's head, and it dawns on him that the perfect life system might actually be real. Managing an awkward smile, he tells Li Xiao that he's fine. Seeing his improved mood, she mentions the scholarship she had spoken about before, and offers to help him, should he be interested. Shen tells Professor Li that a few thousand yuan is just a drop in the bucket compared to his family's massive debts, and it would be better to give the scholarship to someone who truly needs it. Professor Li nods and assures Shen that if he ever faces any issues in the future, whether it's about love or anything else, he can come to her anytime. With that, she heads back to class. Meanwhile, Shen decides to test whether he can really earn a triple refund through the Perfect Life System's time-limited task by spending money on Professor Li. He stops her before she leaves, thanks her for caring about him, and buys her a milk tea. Checking his phone afterward, he notices his original balance was 87 yuan. After spending 6 on the milk tea, he had 81 left. Suddenly, he receives 18 yuan in income, bringing his balance to 99 yuan. This confirms the refund is real. As long as Professor Li's affinity remains above 60, Shen can keep spending on her and continually receive refunds. Excited by this opportunity, he starts thinking about how to use it to pay off his family's debts. If he plays his cards right, his family might end up even richer than before. However, he only has 99 yuan in actual capital, which isn't enough. Over the next few days, he scrapes together 8,000 yuan by selling gold bars, borrows another 20,000 yuan, secures a 21,585 yuan business loan, and still has his original 99 yuan, totaling 49,684 yuan. He decides to buy Professor Li an expensive gift. Since she sees him as a poor student from a bankrupt family, he needs a plausible reason for her to accept it. He chooses a 39,800 yuan handbag from the latest spring collection, and plans to tell Professor Li he got it from a knockoff deal, so it didn't cost much. Without wasting any time, Shen heads to Professor Li's place. He worries that she might have a boyfriend, but he still knocks on her door. Professor Li answers, surprised to see him, and asks what he's doing there. Shen notices she's in the middle of cooking, and quickly apologizes for disturbing her at home. He explains that for 3 years, she has taken care of him like any good teacher would, but only now does he realize how precious her support has been. As a small token of gratitude, he offers her the handbag. Professor Li immediately recognizes it as something quite expensive, and insists there's no need. After all, it's her job to support her students, and she treats all of them the same. Shen assures her it's just a cheap knockoff, costing only about 2,000 yuan, and reminds her of his own family's situation. He could never afford anything truly expensive. He emphasizes that it's just a small sign of his appreciation, and asks her to accept it. Seeing how earnest he is, Professor Li realizes that refusing the gift might hurt Shen's feelings, especially after his recent breakup. She finally accepts and tells Shen she'll return the favor on a holiday or his birthday. Suddenly, the stir-fry on the stove begins to burn. Professor Li rushes back into the kitchen and invites Shen inside, asking him to stay for dinner. Shen jumps at this opportunity, but he politely inquires if her boyfriend would mind him staying over. He also needs to be near Professor Li to maintain her affinity and earn more refunds from the system. Just then, Shen's phone shows a deposit of 119,400 yuan, his triple refund for the 39,800 yuan bag. Subtracting the cost, he's made nearly 80,000 yuan profit. Although Shen has spent that much money before, earning it on his own feels entirely different. Lost in thought, he's startled when Professor Li returns to tell him to sit down for dinner. He composes himself and casually asks if her boyfriend will be joining them. Surprised, Professor Li replies that she doesn't have a boyfriend at all. At that moment, she struggles to remove her kitchen apron. Shen offers to help, but Professor Li politely insists it's unnecessary. He persists, saying he'll have it fixed in no time. Suddenly, Professor Li Xiao's younger sister, Li Meng, appears and shouts, "What are you two doing?" Startled, Shen jumps back and hurriedly explains they weren't doing anything improper. Professor Li smiles and asks her sister why she's home so late before introducing Shen to Li Meng as one of her students. Shen awkwardly greets Li Meng, but she coldly replies that she's not in the mood to chat. Realizing the sudden tension, Shen quickly turns to Professor Li and claims he already ate before coming over, so he's heading back to campus. Professor Li, confused, reminds him he was just about to sit down for dinner a moment ago. However, Li Meng cuts in, warning her sister that this boy is up to no good. Professor Li dismisses her sister's worry, insisting that Shen is simply her student, and invites her to sit down for dinner instead. As Shen leaves, he wonders who he should spend money on next to continue earning his system refunds. His teacher is strictly a student-teacher relationship. She's nothing like Zhou Wanting, who was only after money. While pondering this, Shen bumps into his roommate, Lao Huang, who looks upset. Shen asks him what's wrong, and Lao Huang reveals that his goddess, Fang Minhui, one of the prettiest sophomores in the International Trade Department, went to see a movie with Li Junpeng. Shen remembers that Lao Huang's affection for Fang Minhui has always been one-sided. They've never spoken, or had any real relationship. Seeing Shen's expression, Lao Huang accuses him of making fun of him, but Shen assures him he's not. He gently reminds Lao Huang that someone like Fang Minhui is out of his reach. Just then, they spot Fang Minhui and her friend. Lao Huang breathes a sigh of relief, realizing that Fang Minhui only went to the movies with Li Junpeng. They didn't go to a hotel. Watching Lao Huang get so worked up, Shen silently worries that his friend is losing all dignity in his pursuit of a girl. He doubts things will end well for him. But when Shen gets a closer look at Fang Minhui, he's taken aback. Her principles appear even stricter than Professor Li's. Meanwhile, Fang Minhui's friend points Shen out to her, mentioning that he recently got dumped by his girlfriend. She recalls how, during their basic training at the start of the semester, she had even encouraged Minhui to get close to Shen or buy him drinks. Now, however, she regrets suggesting that, apparently, wealthy guys like him often have bad attitudes. It's understandable for someone to act a bit arrogantly when they're loaded, but Shen supposedly remained just as cocky even after his family went bankrupt. She speculates that might be why his girlfriend left him. From a distance, Shen sees that Minhui's affection level for him is initially quite high, and he's thrilled he might have found someone who thinks well of him, potentially bringing more profit through his system. Suddenly, though, her affection plummets when her friend fills her in on the rumors. Shen realizes he can't just stand by, he needs to act quickly. Turning to his roommate Lao Huang, Shen asks if he'd be upset if Shen and Fang Minhui ended up together. Knowing Shen no longer has the wealth or sports car he once did, Lao Huang merely shrugs and says he wouldn't mind. As long as Minhui isn't with Li Jianping, it doesn't matter who she dates. Encouraged, Shen immediately follows after Minhui, determined to seize the moment. Catching up to her, Shen calls her name. Minhui blushes upon seeing him, but her friend steps in and demands to know what he wants. Shen calmly asks if Minhui is free tomorrow. He has booked a table at Xing Sushi and would like her to join him. Minhui's friend is surprised, remarking that Xing Sushi is a Japanese restaurant where a single meal can cost over 1,000 yuan per person. Shen explains that he's simply hoping Minhui can help him choose a birthday gift for his sister, and tells her to let him know by noon the next day if she's available. He heads back to his dorm. After he leaves, Minhui asks her friend if it's alright for her to have just watched a movie with Li Jianping one day, and then go to dinner with Shen Yuan the next. Her friend insists there's nothing wrong with it, it's just dinner and a stroll, no big deal. Besides, the food at Xing Sushi is top-notch. She points out that while Shen might seem a bit arrogant, he's at least handsome, whereas Li Jianping only has his family's money. If Shen's family recovers financially, he'll easily surpass Li Jianping. Minhui agrees in the end. The next day, she goes out with Shen for dinner at Xing Sushi. Over the meal, Minhui gently brings up his family's current financial troubles, saying he doesn't need to spend so much. Shen tells her not to worry. Splurging occasionally for good food is worth it. Minhui then asks why he invited her to dinner out of the blue. Is it really just for help picking out a birthday gift? Or is there another reason? Nervous, Shen assures her it isn't a big deal. He's wanted to treat her to dinner for a while, but never found the right moment. Initially satisfied, Minhui's affection level mysteriously starts to drop again. Sensing that, Shen quickly changes the subject. He reminds her how, during basic training, she often brought him drinks, and they used to chat on WeChat late into the night, and how he misses those carefree days. Recalling that time, Minhui's fondness for him rises rapidly. 40 minutes later, dinner ends, and Shen pays the 2,774 yuan bill. To his relief, Minhui's affection level increases significantly once again. Minhui can't believe that her monthly budget is only 3,000 yuan, yet this one meal has already cost almost a month's worth of her expenses. She recalls how, when she went to the movies with Li Jianping, he insisted on eating first at the school cafeteria and saving an actual restaurant visit for next time. Despite his family's wealth, he's so stingy. Just then, Shen receives a system notification. He has triggered a time-limited task. He must spend money on a person of the opposite sex, with an affinity level above 60, and win their admiration. If he successfully completes the task, he will be refunded 3 times the amount he spends. Furthermore, for every 3-point increase in that person's affinity, the total refund will be doubled. Shen notices Minhui's affinity level steadily rising, and the thought of earning a quick 10,000 yuan from a single meal excites him. Meanwhile, Minhui feels increasingly happy. The more she looks at Shen, the more she likes him, even if it's partly due to his money. She grabs Shen's hand and urges him to go to the mall to pick out a gift for his sister. A short while later, they arrive at a shopping mall. Shen spots Zhou Wanting and her new boyfriend. Zhou sees him as well, shocked that he's already out with someone else so soon after their breakup. Her new boyfriend grows irritated. How dare a supposedly poor student like Shen spend money in a place like this, when he himself has had to buy so many bags for Zhou just to win her over? And here Shen is, broke and in debt, yet still attracting women. Seeing Zhou again, Shen initially thinks about avoiding her, but Zhou's boyfriend seizes the chance to ridicule him. He suggests they all go inside, pointing out that window shopping costs nothing. Unfazed, Shen explains he's there to buy a gift for his sister, nothing more. Zhou's boyfriend laughs, telling him to try the wholesale market instead. This mall is surely out of his price range. Zhou then approaches Manhwa, warning her not to be fooled by Shen, who, according to her, is no longer a rich heir, but just a poor student. Shen intervenes, stating that he has never deceived anyone, and that Zhou should stop talking nonsense. Zhou's boyfriend steps forward and tells Shen not to speak to her that way, reminding him that everyone knows Shen's family has gone bankrupt, so there's no need to pretend he's still rich. Shen, disgusted, silently notes that these two really do deserve each other. Suddenly, Shen receives another time-limited task from the system. He must spend money on a person of the opposite sex, with an affinity level over 60, and cause other people's negative emotions to rise. For every 5-point increase in others' negative emotions, directly caused by him, the system will double the amount refunded for his spending on that opposite-sex individual. This new task can be combined with the original refund task. Shen can't believe his luck. He'd been prepared to leave them some dignity, but since they insist on provoking him, and now that the system has issued this quest, why not oblige? He grabs Manhwa's hand and heads inside the store. A sales associate with black hair tells her colleague to attend to Shen Yuan, explaining that he used to be a regular customer. The colleague, however, objects. She sees no point in serving a bankrupt ex-rich kid. The last time a fake socialite came in, she dragged them around, sampled everything, and left without buying a thing. She doesn't want to deal with that again. Just then, Zhou Wanting picks out a luxury bag and asks her boyfriend, Jun, to pay, making sure Shen notices. The black-haired sales associate immediately attends to Zhou Wanting, while the other associate looks on in frustration. She can't believe all the high-spending customers always go to her colleague, leaving her with the supposedly difficult ones. The first sales associate praises Zhou Wanting's excellent taste. Meanwhile, Shen tells Manhwa not to worry about money, and to choose whatever she thinks his sister would like. Manhwa points out a stylish, high-quality bag she's certain his sister will love. However, the sales associate standing nearby warns Shen that the bag and matching accessories cost over 50,000 yuan, a hefty amount for someone whose family is rumored to be bankrupt. On the other side of the store, Jun starts to sweat. He thought a 20,000 yuan bag would be enough for Zhou Wanting, but now she wants a full set worth 100,000 yuan. Zhou whispers in his ear, telling him to pay up. After all, Shen is watching, and she wants Jun to show his strength as her boyfriend. The problem is, Jun doesn't have enough on his card. Just then, Shen tells the sales associate he'll take both bags and the accessories the other miss recommended. Zhou Wanting, Jun, Manhwa, and the initially skeptical sales associate are all stunned. Nervously, the associate calculates the total and announces it's 131,000 yuan. Shen smiles, remembering he has exactly that amount left after his refund from dinner. He hands over his card and pays in full. The sales associate is thrilled. She never expected broke Mr. Shen to purchase over 130,000 yuan's worth of goods, making a single sale that large. Zhou Wanting, furious, demands to know where Shen got the money. Wasn't he supposed to be bankrupt? Jun accuses Shen of possibly taking out a loan just to show off. Shen replies that they can believe whatever they want, then suggests Jun buy another bag for Zhou if he wants to impress her, pointing out that 20,000 yuan should be nothing for someone who drives a car worth at least 600,000 or 700,000. Zhou Wanting, glaring at Jun, urges him to show that arrogant brat who's boss. But Jun, who secretly bought his luxury car on a loan, uses an important call as an excuse and slips away. Infuriated, Zhou Wanting gives Shen a parting glare and warns him to take care of himself. By this point, Shen's system indicates that the negative emotion levels he needed to trigger for the task have reached the target. Arguing further would be pointless. He's already met the requirement. Shen then offers one of the luxury bags to Manhwa, who initially refuses, protesting that it's too expensive. Shen insists it's nothing, just a small apology for all the nasty remarks she had to endure. Reluctantly, Manhwa accepts. She's confused about whether the gifts weren't supposed to be for Shen's sister. Shen casually excuses himself, saying he doubts his sister would like these particular styles, and besides, she'd scold him for splurging and then tell their parents. He confesses he actually intended these bags for Manhwa from the start. Manhwa blushes, worried that accepting so much will make her look like a gold digger. Shen tells her not to overthink it. This is only the beginning, and they have plenty of time ahead. Finally, Manhwa agrees to accept everything. At that moment, the system sends Shen a congratulatory notification for completing the limited time task. It shows he generated 15 points of negative emotion, tripling the amount spent, and, combined with the triple refund for spending on a woman with an affinity above 60, the total refund has increased sixfold. He receives 786,000 yuan in his bank account. Shen takes Manhwa's hand, thinking, Manhwa is now my golden goose. I need to take good care of her and keep her affection level from dropping. He then suggests they head back to school, as it's getting late. Although he wants to spend more time with her, he knows it's best to let things progress naturally. Later, in the boys' dormitory, Shen runs into Li Jianping, boasting to his friends about Fang Minhui. His friends urge Li Jianping to celebrate and treat them to dinner. Li Jianping agrees, deciding to invite the entire class and throw a huge party, mostly to make Shen jealous. Shen couldn't care less. He simply heads back to his room. Once there, one of his friends tells him more about Li Jianping's bragging. Apparently, after Li Jianping took the flower of their course to the movies, he now wants everyone at school to know. Shen responds by saying not to worry. He believes Minhui won't go with Li Jianping again. His friend scoffs, pointing out that Minhui did go to the movies with Li Jianping the previous night, and who knows what else might have happened. Plus, she didn't agree to meet Li Jianping today, which might mean she's still considering him. Shen remains unfazed, confident that Minhui won't choose Li Jianping. Right now, Shen has more than enough money anyway, so he decides to pay a visit to his home. The next day, at Shen Yuan's house, Shen's uncle Yaode drops by to meet with Shen's parents. Shen's father asks his uncle to wait a moment as they talk. It turns out Uncle Yaode is here to demand repayment of the money he lent to Shen's family. He claims he needs it urgently in the coming days to cover his own expenses. Shen's mother becomes furious, reminding him that when he didn't have money to start his car wash, they lent him 300,000 yuan without pressuring him for repayment. Yet now, because the family recently borrowed 200,000 yuan from him during their crisis, he keeps hounding them for the money. Shen's father tries to calm his wife, suggesting that perhaps his brother genuinely has difficulties of his own. However, Shen's mother retorts that she spoke to Uncle Yaode's wife, who said they had no urgent expenses. Uncle Yaode insists that paying back debts is normal, and that if they were strangers, the family would have already faced aggressive debt collection methods. Shen's mother is livid that he'd go so far as to threaten them with violent collection tactics, given how much they've helped him in the past. Seeing the argument escalate, Shen's father tells his wife to bring out her gold jewelry, sell it, and use the proceeds to pay off the family's debts. Shen, witnessing this scene, suddenly receives a system notification, a time-limited task to pay off family or personal debts. If he completes this task, the amount he pays off will be doubled as a refund. Moreover, the first time he pays 200,000 yuan, he'll receive a special reward of 1 million yuan, specifically for a luxury car purchase. Shen is both surprised and relieved. This task couldn't have come at a better time. Even if the system hadn't prompted him, he already planned to help reduce his family's financial burden that day. Meanwhile, Shen's mother gathers all the jewelry Shen's father ever gave her. No matter how hard times got, she never sold them before. Although they're only worth a few thousand yuan, they're priceless to her. As she looks through the pieces carefully, she notices 2 gold rings missing. She and her husband wonder if the rings got lost during the move. Outside the room, Shen overhears their conversation and feels embarrassed. It was he who took and sold those 2 gold rings in his first year of college, because he didn't have enough money to buy Joe wanting a bag at the time. Back then, I was such a jerk, he thinks. He steps inside and tells his parents that he has the money they need. His mother and father don't believe him, insisting he shouldn't joke around. They remind him of how bad their situation is, urging him instead to just top up his campus cafeteria card with whatever pocket money he might have. But Shen insists he's serious. To prove it, he transfers a sum into his father's bank account. Shocked to see 200,000 yuan arrive, his parents demand to know where the money came from. Shen can't tell them about the system, so he makes up a story. He used to have a decent allowance, invested it in cryptocurrency with a friend, never touched it, and it recently went up tenfold. His parents are thrilled. With this amount, they can pay off Uncle Yaode's debt and ease some pressure. They give the money to Uncle Yaode, and Shen's mother angrily tells him to leave, adding that it'd be better if their families didn't stay in close contact anymore. Uncle Yaode, surprised at how quickly they managed to repay him, wonders if Shen's family might be on the verge of prospering again. But with how he behaved today, he realizes they may never get along with him in the future. After completing the system's time-limited task, Shen immediately gets his reward, 400,000 yuan, plus 1 million yuan, specifically for a car, for a total of 2,186,356 yuan in his bank account. He smiles, thinking that even if he excludes the 1 million yuan set aside for a new car, his net worth has exceeded 1 million yuan, all while helping his parents through a tough time. He knows his family's debts are nowhere near resolved. Even if he handed over every yuan he currently has, it wouldn't be enough. The best plan is to use his capital to make more money. For now, he only gives 200,000 yuan to his father. When Shen asks if they urgently need more, His mother says the other debts aren't pressing. His father does request 50,000 yuan, and Shen obliges, recalling with some irony that he used to ask his dad for money in a similar manner. On his way back to school, Shen unexpectedly runs into Professor Li. He asks why she's off campus, and she explains there are no classes that afternoon, so she went out for fresh air. Shen seizes the moment and invites her to dinner, hoping to earn more system income, but notices she isn't alone. Her younger sister Li Meng is with her. Li Meng gives Shen a cold, angry stare, which unnerves him. Realizing she seems like his nemesis, Shen quickly excuses himself, claiming he has urgent business on campus. Li Meng remarks to her sister that the guy clearly has ulterior motives, but Professor Li brushes it off, saying even if he did, she wouldn't accept them. As Shen heads back, he's drenched in sweat. He recalls how comfortable it used to be driving around in an air-conditioned car with Zhou wanting. Then he remembers the system allocated him a special 1 million yuan car fund. Not using it would be disrespectful to the great system, he thinks, and immediately calls Manhwa, asking if she'll join him to check out some cars. She agrees, telling him she's free that afternoon. Her friend teases her about car shopping together already, wondering if they'll end up spending the night together. Manhwa blushes, insisting they aren't even an official couple yet. Her friend laughs it off, saying it doesn't matter. Manhwa is lucky to have found a handsome, wealthy guy, and it's only a matter of time before they're officially dating. Embarrassed, Manhwa tells her friend to quit joking around. 1 hour later, at a high-end car dealership, Shen and Manhwa arrive to look at cars. A salesman approaches and asks which model interests them. The salesman immediately recognizes Manhwa as a former junior schoolmate. Manhwa also remembers him, Qin Yang, the older student who pursued her in high school. Qin Yang greets her enthusiastically, then turns to Shen to ask who he is. Shen introduces himself as Manhwa's classmate. Qin Yang coolly greets Shen and inquires which car he's interested in. Shen points to the dealership's M9 luxury sedan, wanting a closer look. The salesman says they're welcome to see the display model and sit inside if they'd like, but internally, Qin Yang is irritated. The base M9 starts at 500,000 yuan, and with fees it's over 600,000. This guy's dressed so plainly. He's obviously not loaded. Bringing a girl here just to show off? What a waste of my time. Looking at Manhwa, Qin Yang thinks, she's as beautiful as ever. My high school goddess. But now I'm different. I'm an elite salesman here, making over 10,000 yuan a month, and I drive a 200,000 yuan Accord. Women are practical. A guy like me is the real catch. He then tries to invite Manhwa to dinner, asking if she's free that evening. Manhwa awkwardly declines, saying she has other plans. Meanwhile, Shen, who's checking out the car interior, asks if they can arrange a test drive. Annoyed at being interrupted, Qin Yang brusquely apologizes and lies that the boss took the test car, so there's no way to test drive today. Shen is surprised, recalling he saw an M9 near the entrance. If Qin Yang can't arrange it, Shen tells him to send someone else who can. He steps out of the car and complains to the receptionist, requesting a different salesperson. A beautiful woman named Chen Na walks over and politely asks how she can help. Meanwhile, one of Qin Yang's colleagues asks him about the boy he referred to Chen Na. Qin Yang, furious, says he doesn't want to waste his time on a mere student, someone not even dressed in expensive clothes, who claims he wants to buy an M9 and test drive it. Isn't that absurd? He scoffs. His colleague warns that if the student truly intends to purchase the car, Qin Yang might regret brushing him off, but Qin Yang just smirks, insisting there's no chance. He's seen plenty of show-offs before. A poor guy bringing a gorgeous girl just to look important. Elsewhere, Chen Na arranges a test drive for Shen. She explains the car's features and performance in detail, but Shen isn't really listening. He's too busy admiring her looks and figure. She seems even more stunning than Manhwa. At the same time, Shen recalls rumors in the auto industry about saleswomen who go to great lengths to close deals with male customers. He wonders if Chen Na already has a sugar daddy somewhere. Noticing Shen's confident driving, Chen Na asks if he's already familiar with the M9 specs and what his approximate budget is. Shen simply asks if any units are available. He wants to take the car home today. Surprised, Chen Na explains that they don't have any in stock at the moment. However, another branch recently had a cancelled order because of the customer's financial issues, and they can bring that car over within a week. Shen agrees and tells her to place the order, astounding Chen Na. A car over 600,000 yuan, and he buys it after one test drive, without even asking the price. She begins to wonder if he might be the elusive angel client, or if he has some other motive. Chen Na then invites Shen to sit in the showroom and mentions he only needs to pay a 50,000 yuan deposit while she fetches the contract. Afterward, once the paperwork is finalized, she returns to the store. Qin Yang spots her and laughs, asking how the deal went. Chen Na remarks that the client has purchased the car. Nervous, Qin Yang insists the guy is just bluffing. When it comes time to pay, he'll disappear. His colleague also seems skeptical, but Chen Na clarifies that Mr. Shen plans to pay in cash. The two men are stunned, and Qin Yang's colleague can't believe Qin Yang let such a big sale slip away. After completing all the paperwork, Chen Na gives the documents to Shen and tells him to contact her anytime if he has any problems. She even offers him a ride, but Min Hui politely declines, saying they'll take a taxi. Chen Na, momentarily flustered, realizes she might have annoyed Shen's girlfriend by being a bit too attentive. Still, she thanks Shen for his purchase and wishes them well. Shen and Min Hui leave the dealership and head back toward the university. On the way, Shen asks Min Hui what she'd like to eat. When she only nods quietly, he teases her, asking if she's upset or jealous. Min Hui denies it while blushing, but her expression betrays her feelings. Shen laughs, explaining that his relationship with Chen Na is purely that of a salesperson and a client, nothing more. Min Hui, still suspicious, mentions how happily he was chatting with her, scrolling through her social media moments, and so on. Shen explains that it's just a habit. Whenever he adds someone new, he checks out their moments. Min Hui, embarrassed by her own jealousy, tells him not to do it next time. Even though she and Shen aren't officially in a relationship, she feels oddly possessive. She knows his generous lifestyle will attract other women, and if she wants to keep him to herself, she'd better think of a way to lock him down. Sensing her concern, Shen promises he'll be more considerate. Then he suggests they grab some food and hit the mall to pick out a gift. He mentions that if he's going to earn money, he needs to keep spending it too. Min Hui insists he doesn't need to buy her anything, reminding him that he just bought her 2 bags yesterday. She doesn't want to come off as a gold digger. Shen only smiles, telling her that for a girl, owning multiple bags is perfectly normal. There are 7 days in a week, so why not have a variety? Besides, the more he spends, the more he says he'll earn back somehow. They decide to stop by a nearby cafe. Shen asks if Min Hui wants a hot or cold drink. Min Hui blushes, wondering if he's indirectly asking about her period. Flustered, she says she wants an iced coffee. Shen, confused by her expression, thinks to himself that her mind is wandering somewhere odd. He also remembers he hasn't spent much money in the past 2 months, ever since his last encounter with Zhou Wanting, and he's itching to spend more. Then he decides it might be fun to stir up this misunderstanding a bit longer. 3 hours later, after eating and doing some shopping, Shen and Min Hui headed back. Min Hui was overwhelmed by how generous Shen was. In just 2 days, he had spent nearly 140,000 yuan on her, 80,000 yuan of that just today. Meanwhile, Shen received a system notification confirming a deposit of 252,000 yuan at 11:39 a.m. on May 12th, bringing his current balance to 2,254,256 yuan. Excited by how quickly he was reimbursed, he remarked that the system's double refund feature was no joke. He had just given his father 50,000 yuan and paid 50,000 yuan for the car deposit, and all of it came back instantly. Although the 2.17 million yuan in his account would eventually be used for the car's remaining balance, even subtracting the nearly 600,000 yuan still left him with more than 1.6 million yuan to spend. He glanced at Min Hui and suggested, "How about not going back to your dorm tonight?" Min Hui smiled and agreed. Half an hour later, they checked in at the Grand Magnate Hotel. While Shen showered, Min Hui felt embarrassed about how she would explain her absence to her roommate, Ling Ling. She debated whether to be honest. Should she say she was with Shen Yuan? A moment later, Shen emerged from the shower and asked if she was ready. Feeling guilty, Min Hui sent Ling Ling a message, telling her she wouldn't be returning to the dorm that night. If anyone asked, she'd say she went to visit relatives. After that, Shen made a move on Min Hui, and before long, they were intimately involved. Half an hour later, Min Hui thought, this isn't as scary as Ling Ling warned. Shen was also surprised by how readily Min Hui responded. He felt great, but also exhausted, realizing he hadn't exercised in 2 months and was out of shape. Min Hui, however, was still in a passionate mood and wanted to go again. Nervous, Shen tried to stall, saying he needed more rest, but Min Hui wouldn't take no for an answer. Early the next morning, Shen slipped back into his dorm. The first thing he did was pay off all his loans from various apps. To his surprise, the system also refunded those debt payments. Between loan apps and credit cards, he owed a total of 52,000 yuan. Then there was the 100,000 yuan he owed to Li Yuhang. When Shen's family had gone bankrupt, most of his so-called friends disappeared. But without hesitation, Li Yuhang had offered him financial help in his time of need. Just then, Shen's roommate asked where he had been the previous night, and mentioned that he should check the class group chat. Apparently, Li Jianping was inviting all the classmates to a dinner that evening. The class monitor was helping him organize it to show off the new car Li Jianping had bought. Shen's roommate noted that if they went, they'd have to endure Li Jianping's bragging. If they didn't, they'd forfeit their 200 yuan class fee. Shen replied that he had no interest in going, calling Li Jianping a show-off. Suddenly, the system prompted a time-limited task. The host will receive 1 million yuan exclusively for investments, which must be used up within 1 week. Reward: all income from any commercial activity will be doubled. Shen smiled, thinking a business-related task had come at the perfect time. He had been wondering what to do with the money in his account, and he needed a legitimate source of income to prove to his parents he was doing well. He figured he might invest in Li Yuhang's bar, which was under renovation, and have some fun in the process. So he messaged Li Yuhang, asked for the location, and confirmed he would join them that night. Later, in the private Dragon Lounge at the Nanjing restaurant, several of Shen's old friends waited with Li Yuhang. Lin Guangyao asked who else they were expecting, and another man in a black suit and glasses, Xie Haijie, remarked that all the important bros had already arrived. Zhao Zheng chimed in, agreeing that important people never arrive late. Smiling, Li Yuhang told them not to be impatient, and pointed to the fruit and snacks on the table, reminding them to help themselves while they waited for Shen Yuan. Lin Guangyao frowned, mentioning Shen's family bankruptcy, and questioning why they had invited him, since he was no longer in their circle. With a dismissive wave, Li Yuhang told Lin Guangyao to mind his own business, reminding him that he was footing the bill tonight. No one else had a right to complain. Besides, he said, Shen Yuan is my lifelong friend. It's different. Hearing that, Lin Guangyao backed down and quietly turned his attention to the tray of refreshments. Then Lin Guangyao turned to his cousin, Xie Haijie, and asked, "Didn't you say your girlfriend was coming tonight? Why isn't she here yet?" Xie Haijie replied, "She's stuck in traffic. She'll be here in about 10 minutes. Lin Guangyao fumed inwardly. He thought to himself, my cousin's family has always relied on ours. If it weren't for me, they wouldn't even have the right to be here. But somehow, my cousin ended up with this amazing girlfriend, especially with that tight skirt and white blouse. She's the kind of office temptation no man can resist. They're not even married, so there might still be a chance for me." Just then, Shen arrived, apologizing to everyone for keeping them waiting. Li Yuhang asked why it had taken him so long, and Shen explained that the taxi driver had gotten stuck in heavy traffic and taken a detour through the most jammed areas. Hearing this, Li Yuhang told Shen he should file a complaint. Lin Guangyao then commented sarcastically about Shen's arriving by taxi, pointing out how everyone else showed up in their own luxury cars, while he supposedly had a personal driver. He smirked, mocking Shen's choice of transportation. At that moment, Xie Haijie's girlfriend walked in, and to Shen's surprise, it was none other than Chen Na, the sales rep Shen had met when purchasing his car. She also apologized for being late because of the traffic. Standing up, Xie Haijie introduced her to the group as a sales rep at the Yao Yao dealership, adding that anyone interested in buying a car should contact her. Inwardly, he was quite proud, thinking he was richer than most of them, and that his girlfriend was also prettier. Chen Na recognized Shen as the customer who had just purchased a car the day before, but since Shen didn't greet her, she pretended it was their first time meeting. 40 minutes later, once everyone had settled in, Li Yuhang announced that he wanted to upgrade the bar he was setting up. Since they were all good friends, he wondered if anyone would be interested in investing with him to grow the business. The estimated cost was 2.4 million yuan, and he was willing to give up 30% of the shares in exchange for about 700,000 yuan in investment. He asked if anyone was interested. Silence filled the room. No one seemed eager to invest, especially since they weren't sure of getting their money back. Lin Guangyao silently thought that the Li family earned tens of millions a year. Why would Li Yuhang need others to invest just 700,000 yuan, unless his father had cut him off after some failed ventures? Xie Haijie knew that coming up with 700,000 yuan would take him at least 2 years of saving, and a third friend had only shown up for the free meal, not for investments. Feeling disappointed, Li Yuhang spoke up. "Why is everyone suddenly so quiet? We've all had dinner together. At least tell me if you're not interested. If you don't want to invest, just say so." Lin Guangyao responded, "I don't think you really need investors. If it's just a cash flow issue, we can each chip in a few thousand to help you open the place, and then you can pay us back when you start making money." Everyone else nodded in agreement, adding that becoming partners halfway through wouldn't be fair to him anyway. Besides, they had seen his previous ventures, like the Hot Pot restaurant and the KTV, both of which were failures. Now he wanted to open a chill bar, and they felt it might just be another money pit. Some of them also thought that if Lin Guangyao had the money, he could lend it privately. Why drag everyone else in? They all depended on their families for pocket money as it was. Li Yuhang was disheartened. All he had wanted was to partner with his so-called brothers and do business together, not borrow money or go into debt. Yet here they were, turning his idea of partnership into a mere loan agreement. These so-called brothers, especially Lin Guangyao, he realized bitterly, they do nothing but take advantage of me for food and drinks. When it comes to making money together, they back off. Finally, he said, if no one's interested, then forget it. Lin Guangyao shrugged. Talking about investments and partnerships doesn't make sense. Let's just keep eating, drinking, and having fun. Meanwhile, Shen observed them all quietly. He already knew these so-called friends were shallow, having seen their true colors when his own family went bankrupt. He wondered why someone as genuine as Li Yuhang continued to pin his hopes on people like this, parasites who lived off their parents' money and refused to help anyone unless it benefited them directly. Li Yuhang, clearly disappointed, told everyone they could do whatever they wanted. He was going home. Just then, Shen spoke up and said to him, if you need 700,000 yuan, I can invest. Everyone was shocked by Shen's offer. Lin Guangyao laughed scornfully and said, don't joke around. We've known you for a while, so we're aware of your family's situation. There's no need to show off. One of the others approached Shen and suggested he go to the bathroom, wash his face and clear his head, insisting that Li Yuhang, wasn't in the mood for nonsense. Xie Haiji also advised Shen, I'm older than you, and I have more experience. You have to act within your means. There's no point talking big. Lin Guangyao chimed in as well. Don't forget how you got here. Someone who arrives by taxi shouldn't be talking about investments. Standing nearby, Chen Na felt confused. Mr. Shen just bought a 600,000 yuan car yesterday. Why is everyone treating him like he's just bluffing? Although she wanted to speak up for Shen, she worried that intervening as an outsider might seem inappropriate. Suddenly, Shen asked Li Yuhang to check his phone. I've already transferred 700,000 yuan to your account, Shen said. Stunned, Li Yuhang opened his banking app. Sure enough, there was a notification stating that 700,000 yuan had been credited to his account. Lin Guangyao saw Li Yuhang's wide-eyed expression and asked what was going on. In response, Li Yuhang showed him the phone. Lin Guangyao's jaw dropped. Shen had really transferred 700,000 yuan. Chen Na, observing from the side, was astonished. How did the situation change so suddenly? One of the other friends, noticing Lin Guangyao's trembling hands, asked him why he looked so shaken. In a shaky voice, Lin Guangyao claimed he had urgent matters at home and had to leave immediately. Hey, what's going on? Xie Haiji asked, still baffled. But Lin Guangyao just told him not to pry, and even suggested he should go home too, claiming their uncle and aunt were looking for him. When Xie Haiji said they hadn't called, Lin Guangyao only grew more frustrated. My cousin can't even understand the gravity of the situation. Deciding it was useless to argue, he left in a hurry, cursing inwardly that Shen had stolen all the attention tonight. Another friend also looked at the message on Li Yuhang's phone, realized how serious the matter was, and decided it was best to leave as well. One by one, the others followed suit. Only then did Xie Haiji finally sense that something major had happened, but he still didn't fully understand. Chen Na advised him to leave, so he reluctantly complied. Outside, Xie Haiji turned to Chen Na. How did you know they were looking at a transfer record? You didn't even see the message. Chen Na hesitated, then explained. Yesterday, Mr. Shen bought an M9 in cash for over 600,000 yuan, so, him investing 700,000 yuan tonight doesn't surprise me at all. Xie Haiji was stunned. Are you joking? I'm serious, Chen Na replied. I have the purchase contract on my phone as proof. Realizing he might have misjudged the situation, Xie Haiji apologized, but then complained, if you knew he was rich, you should have told me earlier. Chen Na glared at him. Today, I realized exactly what kind of person you are. Don't ever contact me again. With that, she stormed off. Meanwhile, back at the table in the bar, Li Yuhang turned to Shen. If I'd known you were this wealthy, I wouldn't have set up this meeting. It was a total waste of time with those guys. Shen shook his head. No, it was necessary. Now you can see which of them are trustworthy. For casual fun, they might be fine, but you can't rely on them for serious matters. Afterward, Shen asked about the bar concept. Even though I'm only a minority shareholder, I want to help with the planning, he said. Grateful, Li Yuhang spent the next 30 minutes going over decor ideas and operational plans. Surprised by how thoughtful Shen's suggestions were, he said, You really didn't waste your time in college. You've got an interesting business vision. Shen grinned. That's just my commercial talent. But we both have classes and can't be here all the time, so we'll need a competent manager to handle day-to-day operations. An hour later, Shen received a message from Chen Na, who informed him that the car he had reserved was about to arrive at the dealership. He could come on Friday to pay the balance and pick it up. Shen told her not to worry, and asked if she was free the following night. He said he had a few specific questions about the car that he wanted to discuss in person. Chen Na wondered what Mr. Shen was up to. Why does he want to meet about car details so urgently? Meanwhile, Shen was contemplating how he could maximize his system's benefits. He currently only had Manhwa as his money tree, and the refunds weren't unlimited. If he spent money on other beautiful women, he could potentially receive more refunds. Chen Na was beautiful, with an incredible figure. Why not see if he could invest in her and get a system refund as well? The next day, Chen Na went to the location Shen had given her and waited, but Shen still hadn't arrived. Suddenly, an older man with a somewhat foolish expression approached her. It was her branch manager, Mr. Zeng, who had a reputation for flirting with her whenever he had the chance. Spotting her alone in her dealership uniform, he decided this was the perfect opportunity. He told his colleagues to go find somewhere else to eat. He had other things to do. The men knew exactly what he meant. One asked the other if he thought Chen Na would entertain Mr. Zeng's advances, but the second man shrugged, saying she didn't seem like that kind of person. The first insisted, "What kind of girl comes here alone? Maybe she set this up on purpose for him to find her." Nearby, unseen, stood Zi Haiji, who overheard their conversation. Meanwhile, Mr. Zeng approached Chen Na and asked if she was there by herself. "Mind if I join you?" he said. Chen Na apologized. "I'm waiting for a friend, Mr. Zeng." Smirking, Mr. Zeng muttered to himself, "She's still playing hard to get," and said aloud, "It doesn't matter if you're waiting for a friend. As your superior, I can join you. Let's eat together." Chen Na, furious, politely declined Mr. Zeng's offer and told him to keep a proper distance. She reminded him that he already had a family and shouldn't be doing things like this. Mr. Zeng, undeterred, said that if she was worried about his wife, he would divorce her for Chen Na's sake. Meanwhile, in another part of the mall, Zi Haiji was angrily wandering around, fuming over Chen Na's rejection. "How could she choose another man over me?" he thought. "I earn between 400,000 and 500,000 yuan a year, and I drive a car worth over 300,000. I'm not inferior to anyone." Then he spotted Chen Na sitting with Mr. Zeng. Shocked, he thought, "I can't believe I lost to that fat old pig." Approaching them, he shouted at Chen Na, accusing her of having an affair behind his back. Chen Na, confused, told him he was misunderstanding the situation. Mr. Zeng was equally puzzled, wondering who this crazy man was, but before anyone could explain, the furious Zi Haiji threw a punch at Mr. Zeng's face. Outraged, Mr. Zeng grabbed Zi by the collar and hit him back. The two brawled wildly, entertaining onlookers in the mall. Just then, Shen arrived and saw Zi Haiji fighting with Mr. Zeng. He secretly felt relieved, thinking, if it weren't for that fat man taking the brunt of it, I might have been the one lying on the floor right now. Shen took the opportunity to grab Chen Na's hand and quietly lead her away from the scene. While driving, Chen Na confessed to Shen that she had only been with Zi Haiji for 2 weeks. It was at that dinner when she realized his true character. Fortunately, she ended things that same night. Shen agreed that it was good she had discovered his nature early, rather than regretting it later. Chen Na sighed and said the problem wasn't over yet. Mr. Zeng, the one who got hit, was her boss. She had no idea how he would treat her after being attacked for no apparent reason. Shen told her that a boss like that didn't deserve her loyalty and advised her to find a new job. However, Chen Na said it wasn't that easy. Jobs were hard to find, and moving to a new store meant she would lose the customers she had built up over the years. She admitted that she was tired of sales and had long wanted to switch industries. Ideally, she would open a small cafe. If she felt good, she'd open longer. If not, she'd close early. It sounded perfect, but starting a cafe would cost somewhere between 300,000 and 400,000 yuan, and she had no idea when she could save that much. Hearing this, Shen told her that if she really wanted to open a cafe, she shouldn't worry about the money. He was willing to invest. Besides the 700,000 I put into Li Yuhang's bar, he thought, I've just gotten 300,000 yuan in exclusive investment funds. Chen Na still wasn't sure if he was serious, so she joked that if he really planned on funding the cafe, she'd quit her job immediately and work for him. Shen, wearing a serious expression, told her to resign tomorrow. He promised to invest 300,000 yuan to open a cafe, and she would manage it for him. Shocked, Chen Na wondered if she had heard him correctly, while Shen felt a surge of excitement at the prospect of cultivating a new money tree. Chen Na was shocked. She asked Shen if he was being serious or just joking with her. Shen smiled and assured her he was completely serious. "Don't you want to work for me? Once the cafe is up and running, I'll pay you 12,000 yuan a month plus bonuses. If the cafe does well after 3 months, I'll give you a car worth 200,000 yuan. Chen Na was surprised and found it hard to believe how generous Shen's offer was. No sales pressure, just work for 3 months and get a car, and her annual income would exceed 300,000 yuan. However, a small part of her worried that Shen might have ulterior motives. Perhaps he wanted to keep her around for personal reasons. She told him it wasn't worth going to such lengths just for her. As tempting as his offer sounded, she didn't want to become a caged canary, and certainly not someone's third wheel. Shen smiled and told her not to overthink it. He explained that he planned to open a chain of cafes, and this first one was simply a pilot project. Their relationship, he emphasized, would be strictly that of boss and employee, nothing more. Chen Na blushed and asked Shen to give her some time to consider. Just then, Shen received a message from Manhwa, asking if he was free tonight and suggesting they go out for a cold drink. Shen, slightly surprised by Manhwa's boundless energy, texted back that he would come. He then turned to Chen Na, telling her he had something else to do and would be leaving. He asked her to think it over carefully and let him know once she made up her mind. Later, in room 808 at the Grand Magnate Hotel, Shen walked in to find Manhwa grabbing him from behind, declaring how much she had missed him. Suddenly, she noticed another woman's scent on him. Shen looked around, realizing it could be from riding in Chen Na's car and picking up her perfume. Manhwa pushed him away, demanding to know why he was meeting other women behind her back. Shen pulled her into a hug, insisting there was a misunderstanding, that she was the only one he truly cared for. He explained that the lingering perfume might have come from female sales staff at the car dealership, where he'd been handling some paperwork earlier. Those saleswomen wore lots of perfume to attract customers. Manhwa accepted his explanation, but told him that if he ever went out with another woman again, he should let her know first, and that he should also keep his distance from any overly friendly salesgirls. Shen nodded in agreement, though inwardly he knew he couldn't completely stick to one money tree. His system required tasks involved spending money on various women to earn refunds, making it impossible to focus on just one person. With the misunderstanding cleared up, Manhwa told Shen she was going to take a shower and asked him to wait. However, Shen grabbed her from behind and tossed her onto the bed, telling her she didn't need to clean up first. He liked her just the way she was. They kissed and began their exercise. 2 hours later, Manhwa still wasn't satisfied and wanted to continue, but Shen felt exhausted. He told her to wait while he took a shower, complaining that he was sweaty and uncomfortable. One thing Shen realized was that Manhwa had far more energy than Zhou Wanting. While Manhwa seemed happy and energetic, he was completely wiped out. This kind of exercise boosted Manhwa's affinity for him significantly. Last time, her affinity went up to 86 in just one night, and this time, after 2 rounds, it hit 90. When Manhwa's affinity level reached 90, Shen received a system notification that he had completed an affinity task and was rewarded with a 1 million yuan lottery ticket and a new skill called Ruthless X Power. Shen was surprised, but also elated. With a 1 million yuan lottery ticket, he could explain his sudden windfall more easily and use it to pay off his family's debts. He was even more excited about the skill. With Ruthless X Power, he believed he could completely dominate Manhwa in the future. From now on, she would no longer control him. She would be under his control. As Shen activated the skill, he felt a powerful surge of energy coursing through him. His manhood solidified again, and a wave of renewed strength spread throughout his body. The rewards for reaching an affinity level of 90 with the opposite sex are amazing, he thought to himself. It seemed the system provided benefits tailored to his needs. He also realized how difficult it was to reach a level of 90 affinity. Li Xiao had surpassed 60, but matching Manhwa's level would be a long journey. As for Chen Na, with her long legs and black stockings, she was also over 60, but he would have to take things one step at a time. He wasn't sure when he'd next see another woman reach 90 affinity, or what new rewards he might earn. But for now, he decided not to worry about it. All that mattered was testing out the power the system had given him. Approaching Manhwa, who was still surprised by his sudden resurgence of energy, Shen grinned and said he wanted more exercise before taking a shower. Meanwhile, across town at Chen Na's house, Chen Na was on the phone with her friend Qian Qian. She told Qian Qian that a young man had offered her a total of 300,000 yuan to help open a store, plus the promise of a 200,000 yuan car after 3 months. Does he want to keep me? And he already has a girlfriend, Chen Na fretted. Qian Qian jokingly asked if Chen Na was kidding or if she had run into a scammer. Chen Na insisted it was genuine. She had met Shen several times, and he even bought a car with her. Hearing this, Qian Qian asked how old he was, pointing out that most of the buyers at her dealership tended to be middle-aged men. Chen Na replied that he was only 21, which stunned Qian Qian. A luxury car at that age, plus he was handsome? Chen teased that a guy so wealthy, young, and good-looking sounded perfect. Why hesitate? But Chen Na worried that Shen was 5 or 6 years younger than she was. Chen reassured her that being a few years older was no big deal. There's a saying that if a woman is 3 years older, it's like hugging a gold bar. In this case, it might be 2 gold bars. Chen Na also reminded her friend that Shen already had a girlfriend. Chen shrugged it off, saying a girlfriend wasn't the same as a wife, and under those circumstances, it didn't matter anyway. When Chen Na continued to protest, Chen jokingly offered to take the little millionaire off her hands if she was too indecisive, adding that she'd break up with her own boyfriend in a heartbeat for such a catch. After ending the call, Chen Na stood by her window, gazing outside and thinking about Shen's offer. She still felt torn, wondering what she should ultimately decide. 40 minutes later at the Grand Magnate Hotel, Manhwa lay there, fully satisfied, telling Shen he was different than before, much stronger. Shen smiled and asked if she was happy. Manhwa blushed, reflecting on how they had already exercised twice in just over 40 minutes. Shen leaned in and whispered, suggesting they go for another round if she liked it so much. Flustered, Manhwa asked if he really had the stamina. Shen grinned, reminding her that she'd studied dance and inviting her to take the lead this time. Though embarrassed, Manhwa agreed, and they continued their exercise late into the night. The next day, after Fang Manhwa returned to school, Shen was still feeling sleepy. He had no morning classes, and suddenly remembered the lottery ticket he'd received from the system. Checking it against the winning numbers, he was shocked to discover he had won 6.8 million yuan. Overjoyed, he jumped out of bed and rushed to tell his parents the good news. Ever since the family had gone bankrupt, they had been struggling. When he reached home, he called for his mother at the door. She asked why he was shouting, and Shen insisted she bring his father. He had something important to tell them. His father emerged, concerned that Shen might be in trouble, but Shen flashed a wide grin, declaring that their family was now rich. He had won 6.8 million yuan in the lottery. His parents were skeptical at first, thinking he was just stressed about their debts. They urged him to focus on his studies, assuring him they would handle the family's financial issues. In response, Shen showed them the ticket along with the official winning numbers. His father carefully checked and was astonished to find they had truly hit the jackpot. Both parents were speechless at first, barely able to believe they had suddenly come into 6.8 million yuan. Shen pointed out that after the 20% tax deduction, they would still have more than 5 million left, enough to clear the family's debts and vastly improve their lives. His mother, overjoyed, thanked him repeatedly, grateful they were no longer weighed down by debt. She suggested they celebrate this huge stroke of luck. Shen then explained that after graduation, he planned to start his own business to gain some real-world experience. His father supported the idea, advising Shen that business could be tough, but encouraging him to use his youth and capital wisely. He also recommended that Shen set aside some of the money in case his venture didn't go as planned. Shen agreed, saying he would only take 1 million yuan for himself and let his parents use the rest as they saw fit. They happily agreed, promising to support him no matter what he decided to do. At Chen Na's workplace, her boss, Mr. Zeng, summoned her to his office, demanding an explanation about the recent incident at the mall. Chen Na explained she had broken up with that man long ago and had nothing to do with him anymore. If he was injured, he should confront the culprit himself. Mr. Zeng refused to accept this, insisting that if it weren't for her, the man wouldn't have attacked him. In truth, he wanted to use the incident as leverage to gain some hold over her. However, Chen Na stayed firm, pointing out she had warned him she had a date that day, yet he insisted on sitting with her regardless. Mr. Zeng only smiled and called her stubborn. He accused her of abandoning her post the previous afternoon and leaving customers unattended, then announced he was suspending her customer service duties for the month. He told her to reflect on her mistake. Outraged, Chen Na retorted that she had asked for permission to leave, but Mr. Zeng merely laughed and reminded her that he was the general manager, and thus had the authority to do as he pleased. Realizing she would lose her commissions and be left with only a base salary of 1,200 yuan, not nearly enough to cover her rent, Chen Na's anger boiled over. She told Mr. Zeng his position had gone to his head and that she would quit if she must. Concerned, Mr. Zeng stood up, urging her to reconsider, yet she declared there was nothing more to think about. She was done with this useless job. Half an hour later, she texted Shen, telling him she had quit and asking if his offer from the previous day still stood. Shen congratulated her on escaping that hell and stepping toward a brighter future, adding that she should start scouting a few locations. If she found one suitable, they would move forward together. Meanwhile, Shen went to see Professor Li, who was busy moving her office belongings. Having too much to carry alone, She asked Shen for help. She had planned to ask the class monitor, but he was on leave. Shen gladly offered assistance, pointing to a heavy filing cabinet and asking if it also needed to be moved. Professor Lee nodded, explaining that while she could manage the books and supplies by herself, the desk and cabinet were too heavy. She told him to remove the books from the top first to keep them from falling. As she stretched to reach the items, her hand couldn't quite grasp them. Shen moved in close to help, and Professor Lee suddenly realized how near he was standing to her. Embarrassed, her thoughts drifted back to their previous interactions. This time felt even more intimate. Could Shen Yuan really be developing feelings for her? Professor Lee blushed, her face red with embarrassment. In a nervous voice, she asked Shen if he was already done. Shen nodded and took the files from the cabinet. Just then, other students arrived to help Professor Lee, but they noticed Shen there, and also saw how red Professor Li Xiao's face was. Shen stepped forward and told them, "Hurry up and move the stuff. Take that filing cabinet to the office next door." Meanwhile, Professor Lee felt relieved that the students had arrived just a few seconds late. If they'd come earlier, it would have been really embarrassing for her. But she realized Shen Yuan was getting bolder by the minute. What happened at home was already too much. Now he was doing ridiculous things in the office. Somehow she felt a little excited about it. She quickly dismissed those thoughts, reminding herself that she was a teacher, and Shen was her student. She couldn't think that way about him. Just then, Shen noticed something. Professor Lee's affection level had jumped to 71. He wondered if that moment really boosted her feelings. He knew it wasn't just him. It was the professor's seriously curvy hips. If she were a flatter girl, he wouldn't have gotten this far. Still, he hadn't expected her affection to go up because of that. He realized maybe he should visit her more often to nurture their relationship. Meanwhile, 800 meters from the school's south gate, John Peng arrived at a cafe with two girls from his class. The girl in the black dress said she heard he had bought a car worth 280,000 yuan in cash. The other girl agreed, saying, "He hasn't even graduated yet and he's already driving a BBA. That puts him above 99.99% of our classmates." John Peng smiled to himself. So what if Manhwa rejected me? With my credentials, plenty of girls would line up to follow me. He told the girls, "Some people don't even care about a BBA." The girl in the black dress asked, "Are you joking? How could they not care? What kind of family are they from?" The other girl agreed. "Some people just don't get it. Even after working 3 or 5 years, they wouldn't be able to afford a car like that." Just then, John Peng noticed Chen Na waiting for someone. He was amazed by her beauty, thinking, "If I could have those legs, even losing 10 years of my life wouldn't be too much." He was curious. Who could a girl like that be waiting for? At that moment, the girls with John Peng noticed a luxury car parked in front of the cafe. John Peng told them, "That's the Yao Yao leading M9. But when they looked closer to see who was driving, they were shocked. It was Shen. John Peng was stunned. He refused to believe it. How was he driving that car? Wasn't his family supposed to be bankrupt? As Shen entered the cafe, Chen Na called out to him. John Peng was in disbelief. That gorgeous girl I was admiring just minutes ago. She was waiting for Shen Yuan. This was the cafe Chen Na was thinking of buying. She told Shen, "The cafe owner just texted me and asked us to wait here. She'll be here any minute." Then she asked Shen about the car. "Did you have any trouble with the handling?" Shen smiled and replied, "Everything's perfect. No problems at all." Meanwhile, the girl in the black dress asked John Peng, "How is Shen still living such a luxurious life? Wasn't his family supposed to have gone bankrupt?" John Peng was furious. That bastard Shen Yuan, he just broke up with his partner and now he's already hooking up with a beauty from outside the school. Just then, the cafe owner, Lin Yu Chang, arrived. She apologized to Miss Chen and explained, "I just picked up my son and got held up a bit." She praised Shen and hadn't expected him to be so young. Shen smiled and told her, "We're all about the same age. Around 20. Then he asked, "Mrs. Lin, let's sit down and talk." Miss Lin sat down and told Shen that the business wasn't doing great, but being near the school meant there was still a decent flow of customers. The problem was that she had a lot of family issues, and taking care of her son left her with very little time. So, she had no choice but to transfer the cafe. The transfer fee was 300,000 yuan. Although Shen had 300,000 yuan to invest, after paying the transfer fee, he needed to reserve 50,000 yuan as seed capital for the business and for Chen Na's first salary. So, he offered Miss Lin 250,000 yuan up front. Miss Lin, however, said that the price was a bit lower than she expected. She was hoping for 270,000 yuan, but if she didn't transfer the cafe now, she might not find someone as determined as Shen. So she agreed to the price and asked Shen if he could sign the agreement and transfer the payment today. Shen agreed and told her that once they signed, he would transfer the 250,000 yuan immediately. Just then, Miss Lin called Xiao Q, one of the cafe employees, and introduced her to Mr. Shen, telling her that he would be the new owner and to get him acquainted with the place. Q greeted Shen politely. However, Shen told her that she only needed to show Miss Chen Na around. He wouldn't be coming by often. She would be handling everything in the business. Meanwhile, John Peng and the two girls with him were listening in on the conversation. The girl in the black dress whispered to the other girl, "They just closed a 250,000 yuan deal in a few minutes." The other girl replied, "It's obvious Shen Yuan only took the cafe because of that gorgeous girl next to him." John Peng was furious and didn't know what to say. Meanwhile, Chen Na noticed Miss Lin's phone was ringing. It was her husband calling. Miss Lin excused herself and stepped aside to take the call. Chen Na then showed Shen the name on the screen and told him, "Mrs. Lin is the wife of Zheng Xianyong, the same guy who fought with Xie Haiji at the financial center. He's also my boss at the car dealership." Shen was shocked. He couldn't believe that with such a beautiful wife at home, Zheng Xianyong was still using his position to harass his employees. How despicable, he thought. If it were me, I wouldn't stand for it. Chen Na, a little worried, told Shen that she still had the chat records where Zheng Xianyong had harassed and threatened her. She was planning to expose him after receiving her salary, so that everyone in the industry could see his true colors. She asked Shen Yuan, "Should we tell Mrs. Lin? She's very kind, but I'm afraid of hurting her." Shen smiled and replied, "I don't think that'd be appropriate." Chen Na, curious, asked. Shen explained with a calm smile, "Once those chat records go public, Zheng Xianyong will know who exposed him. He's a man over 40, unemployed, and with a family to support. I'm afraid he might do something awful. Just relax and let me handle this. I promise I can take him down without it affecting you." Chen Na felt relieved and thanked Shen for everything. Just then, Shen transferred 250,000 yuan to Mrs. Lin, and also sent Chen Na 50,000 yuan. Out of that, 24,000 was her salary for the last 2 months, and the rest would serve as seed capital for the business. At that moment, a system notification window popped up in front of him. Shen had used the 1 million yuan in exclusive investment funds to complete the initial investment task, and his investment level had risen from beginner to junior investor. Immediately after, he received a new task. Ongoing task. Initiated. As a perfect life should have a more diversified industry, he will receive 10 million yuan in exclusive investment funds to further expand investments. Completion rewards is that investment income will be tripled, and upon completing the investment, he will receive a mysterious industry. Shen smiled. He didn't expect the system to surprise him again. This time, the exclusive investment fund had multiplied by 10, and now he had 10 million yuan to invest. Plus, there was a mysterious industry included. After ending the call, Miss Lin approached Shen and told him she had received the payment. "It's been a pleasure working with you," she said. "I hope to see you again." As Shen touched Mrs. Lin's hand, he couldn't believe how soft they were, like she had no bones, yet with a meaty, tender touch. Could this be the charm of a married woman? He wondered. He smiled and told Miss Lin, "We'll definitely meet again in the future." Half an hour later, Shen took Chen Na to an expensive Japanese restaurant. Surprised, Chen Na said, "This restaurant is so expensive. Do you come here often?" Shen smiled and replied, "Not that often, but today's a good day to celebrate our partnership, so that's why I brought you here." As Shen looked at Chen Na, he couldn't take his eyes off her. She was just irresistible. Any normal man would feel the same. So, he asked her to sit next to him. At first, she hesitated, but eventually, she sat beside him. Shen gently pulled her a little closer. "I've spent 300,000 on the cafe," he thought, "and every month I'll be paying 12,000 in salaries. It's time to earn some interest back." Chen Na's entire face turned red with embarrassment. She knew, in this world, there's no such thing as love or effort without a reason. She wondered, does he really think the cafe can make money? Even Lin Yuchang said just breaking even would be an achievement. And, all I've got to offer is this. Shen slowly reached over and touched her butt. Embarrassed, Chen Na said, "Stop, the waiter's coming in." But Shen whispered, "Don't worry, they're not that fast here," and continued. 10 minutes later, just as things were getting heated, the waiter finally arrived and told Shen that the dishes were ready. Chen Na quickly pushed Shen away and adjusted her clothes. Shen also composed himself and told the waiter to serve the food. As the dishes were served, Shen leaned toward Chen Na and asked her to try the house specialty. Chen Na looked at Shen and realized he was actually quite handsome. But his only flaw is that he's a bit of a rascal, she thought. Even with such a beautiful girl beside him, he still acts like this in public. It's a shame he's drifting on his own now. No point dwelling on that. 40 minutes later, after dinner, the total bill came to 2,652 yuan. Shen scanned the QR code and paid. Even though the meal cost him 2,652 yuan, the system refunded him triple, earning him 5,304 yuan. Making money is just that easy, he thought. 1 meal equals the commission from selling a car. For the rich, spending 2,000 is like spending 20 for me. After dinner, Chen Na told Shen she wanted to return to the cafe to talk with Xiaoqiu and understand the situation better. She was starting work tomorrow and wanted to get familiar with things as soon as possible. However, Shen told her, it's already 8:30, and Xiaoqiu leaves at 9. If you go now, you might disturb her and earn her resentment. It's better to go home, get some rest, and come tomorrow. Chen Na's face turned bright red, and she agreed with Shen's suggestion. She also apologized for bothering him again, and asked if he could take her home. 10 minutes later, they reached Chen Na's house. She got out of the car and thanked Shen for all his hard work today. Tomorrow, after work, I'll hand you the report, she said before saying goodbye. However, Shen's mood was different. He looked at her and said, I'm a bit thirsty, mind if I come upstairs for some water? Embarrassed, Chen Na responded, I don't think that's very appropriate. Isn't it too soon? What happened at the restaurant was already my limit. Shen teased her and asked, is there another man at your place? Chen Na, startled, quickly responded, it's not what you think. I already broke up with Zihaiji. Shen smiled and said, then no problem. I'll just have some water. What's so inappropriate about that? Chen Na looked at him suspiciously and asked, are you really just going to have water and leave? Shen confidently replied, of course, but if you want me to stay over, I can. Chen Na stared at him with a cute expression on her face, then eventually let Shen into her home. As soon as they entered, Shen suddenly grabbed her from behind. Embarrassed, Chen Na said, didn't you say you were only going to have water? Shen nodded. But the water I want isn't the kind you were thinking of. He pulled her closer and started kissing her. At that moment, downstairs, Zihaiji came to Chen Na's place to apologize. He believed Chen Na had probably quit her job because of him. First, he thought, I have to earn her forgiveness, even if it's just to be friends again, and then I'll work hard to win her back. When he arrived, he noticed that the light in Chen Na's apartment was off. She must not be home, he thought, deciding to leave flowers at her door. Roses mean, I'll love you forever. This feeling won't change. She's smart. She'll surely know they're from me. But as he reached the front of her door, he suddenly heard strange sounds coming from inside. Zihaiji instantly recognized the voice. That's Nana's voice. His expression twisted. She said she had nothing to do with Mr. Zeng, but in reality, they're already together. He angrily banged on the door, shouting Mr. Zeng's name and demanding he come out. But it wasn't Mr. Zeng. It was Shen, who heard Zihaiji's voice and couldn't believe it. That idiot already broke up with her. Why is he getting involved again? What's his problem? Chen Na also heard something outside. Someone's knocking on the door, she said nervously. But Shen calmly told her, you're mistaken. It's probably someone knocking on the next door apartment. Don't worry. He lifted her into his arms and carried her to the bed. Embarrassed, Chen Na whispered, be gentle outside. Zihaiji collapsed to the ground in tears, right in front of Chen Na's door. He realized she had been completely taken by someone else. I have no chance left. With one last shred of dignity, he muttered through the door, at least, remember to use protection. 1 hour later, they were still going. Chen Na was overwhelmed with pleasure, but also a little worried about Shen. Shen asked her to lie down so she wouldn't get tired so easily. With the relentless skill the system gave me, my energy is endless. I just can't stop. Although Chen Na seemed outgoing, Shen hadn't expected her to be so shy and private. It made him even more attracted to her. Just like that, they continued all night. The next day, Shen lay in bed and suddenly smelled something amazing. Toasted bread and fried eggs. It was Chen Na, cooking breakfast for him. Looking at her, Shen thought, Chen Na is so considerate. Very different from the vibe I got from Hui Hui at the hotel. This kind of warmth only happens at home. The hotel just doesn't have it. Just then, he triggered another time-limited system task. He have to buy a property of at least 100 square meters for Chen Na within 24 hours. His first reward is that the amount of the purchased property will be doubled. His second reward is that after the purchase, the host will receive a mysterious property. Shen was excited. He couldn't believe the system had materialized a passing thought he had. With the system's generosity, this property won't be something modest. Maybe the mysterious property is a huge mansion, perfect for pool parties. Looks like in the future, I should meet more quality women. The more I do, the higher my chances of getting surprises like this. Just then, Chen Na noticed Shen was awake. You're up already? She said. Breakfast will be ready in 2 minutes. Shen was excited just thinking about what reward he might get if Chen Na's affection level reached 90. He smiled at her and teasingly asked, is there only breakfast today? As he grabbed her from behind. Chen Na couldn't believe it. Still not enough? After everything that happened last night, Shen grinned and told her to make breakfast, and he'd have his. He then said, if you don't have anything to do this morning, Why don't you go pick out a house? I'll gift it to you. Chen Na was surprised. Are you joking? She asked. He had already spent 300,000 yuan helping her with the cafe, and now he wanted to buy her a house? Even though Xingcheng isn't a first-tier city, buying a house would still cost at least 1,000,000 yuan. Besides, she thought, he's already devoured me from head to toe, and I have nothing left to offer. What is he after? Was it because I made him happy last night? Shen kissed her cheek and asked, say something. Or do you not want it? Chen Na replied shyly. It's all too sudden, and it's way too valuable. Money doesn't grow on trees, but for Shen, it practically did. He had over 3.5 million yuan on his card specifically for buying a house. And if he spent it all, the system would refund him 5 times the amount. His savings would instantly exceed 17 million yuan. Shen gently comforted her and said, don't worry about saving money for me, and there's nothing wrong with buying a house for my woman. Then he told Chen Na to pick one that's at least 120 square meters. I don't want to treat you poorly, he added. He wiped her tears and said, we made so much noise last night, and the insulation here is terrible. The neighbors on both sides probably heard everything. We can't keep renting this place. Chen Na blushed and muttered, it's all your fault. Shen apologized and admitted his mistake, but also chuckled and said, you were really loud. Just then, Chen Na remembered something and said, Shen, I have 2 friends who wanted to visit the cafe today. I told them to come by at 10:30 a.m. Can you come with me? We can check out the house afterward too. Shen replied, buying a house isn't like buying vegetables. We need time to choose the right one and take care of the paperwork. An afternoon might not be enough. We should reserve more time. Chen Na realized the seriousness of the situation and agreed. I'll tell my friends we can meet some other time. She quickly texted her friend Chiang Qian and said she had something urgent to handle and couldn't make it to the cafe, but asked if they could meet tonight instead. However, Chiang Qian replied, saying she and Menglu were already almost at the cafe. In the car, Chiang Qian turned to Liu Menglu, who was driving, and said, Na said something urgent came up and she can't come. Liu Menglu, Chen Na's friend and a well-known personal trainer, frowned and asked, what happened? Chiang Qian sighed. Maybe the cafe thing didn't work out, or maybe Na was exaggerating. Honestly, what kind of man is so easy to fool? How could he spend 300,000 yuan on her like that? But Liu Menglu shook her head. Chen Na isn't the type to show off. I don't think she would lie. Then she asked Chiang Qian to message her and find out what's going on. It's been years since I met a young, handsome, rich man, and I never thought Chen Na would land one first. No matter what, she thought, I have to meet him. I need to make some connections. Chiang Qian nodded and texted Chen Na again. To their shock, Chen Na replied that Shen was taking her to buy a house. Liu Menglu was stunned. A house? It's not like buying handbags or makeup. It's a house. Even a small 40-square-meter apartment would cost between 500,000 and 600,000 yuan. Add that to the cafe investment, and now this man, someone she met less than half a month ago, was willing to spend between 800,000 and 900,000 yuan on her. She realized that no matter what, she absolutely had to meet this guy. Even if Na was with him, a man like that surely didn't have just one woman. Who knew how many more he had out there? As for attracting men, she believed she had more advantages than Chen Na. So she asked Chiang Qian to message Chen Na and find out which real estate development they were going to. She suggested they help her evaluate the property. Honestly, they had nothing else to do today, and it was better for several people to help choose rather than her doing it alone. She even apologized to Chen Na in the message, saying, this time, it's better if the benefits go to your own sisters rather than some random woman out there. Chiang Qian agreed and messaged Chen Na to ask about the location. 40 minutes later, both of them arrived at the Songhu Tiandi sales center. Liu Menglu was stunned. It was Songhu Tiandi. The smallest units in this development cost over 1 million yuan. Gifting a house worth that much? Just to keep a mistress? She thought. When will I ever have that kind of wealth? As Liu Menglu marveled at Songhu Tiandi, Chiang Qian spotted Chen Na and waved at her. Excited, she asked, Na, who's that handsome guy next to you? Introduce us. Chen Na smiled and said, this is Shen Yuan. Then she introduced her friends. This is Liu Menglu, a personal trainer. And this is Ho Chiang Qian, a Ferrari salesperson. Liu Menglu saw Shen approaching and admired his perfect figure. She suggested, if you have time you should come train at my gym. But in her mind, she was thinking, I never expected Nana's sponsor to look like he's only 25. Rich, young, and handsome? It's downright envy-inducing. Shen smiled and teased her. At your gym, I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to concentrate. Seeing that Chen Na didn't oppose the flirting, Liu Menglu began to suspect that Shen and Nana weren't really a couple. She also noticed the slight swelling in Nana's knees and realized the battle last night must have been intense. Maybe she pleased her sponsor a lot, she calculated, which is why he brought her to buy a house. Qian also greeted Shen and told him, "If you're thinking of changing cars, you should come check out the Ferraris in our showroom." Shen nodded and replied, "If I decide to change my car, I'll contact you." What really got Shen excited, though, was their affection levels. In less than 5 minutes of meeting, both women were already interested in him. He began to wonder if they were really Chen Na's good friends. But for Shen, this wasn't a bad thing. It actually benefited him. The more women with affection levels over 60, the more money trees he'd have. After the introductions, they all headed inside to look for a suitable house for Chen Na. Inside, many onlookers admired Shen, buying a house and bringing 3 beauties with him. Just then, one of the sales representatives approached Shen and said, "We currently have available units in buildings 3 and 9, with an average price of around 15,000 yuan per square meter. Would you like to see the model room first?" However, Shen replied, "There's no need," and told her that his budget is 3 million yuan. He asked her to recommend units and floors that fit within that range. The salesperson politely apologized and invited him to the negotiation room for a more professional consultation. Liu Menglu was stunned. What kind of tycoon is this Shen Yuan? Spending 3 million so casually? This kind of sponsor is definitely someone worth clinging to. No doubt about it. In the negotiation room, the sales agent did some quick calculations and told Shen, "With your budget, I recommend a 165 square meter unit, facing south, with a beautiful scenic view. After discounts, the price comes to 2,984,000 yuan. Seeing the price, Chen Na whispered and called Shen over, telling him, "That's too expensive." Shen smiled and said, "Don't skimp on expenses. A big house is more comfortable to live in." Hearing this, both Liu Menglu and Qian couldn't believe what they were witnessing. The woman wants to save money for him, but he insists on giving her the best? This man wasn't just rich, he was loyal and generous, a legendary sponsor. A man like him was nearly impossible to find. Seeing everyone looking at him, Shen realized he had to negotiate, or else people might think he was a fool. So he turned to the salesperson and said, "Let's talk discounts, gorgeous. I know you've got room to work with." Hearing this, the salesperson smiled and told Shen that if he could make a decision today, she'd immediately request an even bigger discount for him. But Shen told her there was no need for additional discounts. They'd rather trade for 2 parking spaces instead. The price would be about the same. Liu Menglu, watching the scene unfold, realized she had to win over this man, no matter what. Meanwhile, Shen noticed the sudden change in Liu Menglu's behavior and wondered what was going on with her. When he looked her way, Liu Menglu boldly showed him her bra. Shen blushed, admiring her figure, thinking, if something really happened with her, the feeling would be unimaginable. But he quickly snapped back to reality. Now's not the time to get distracted. First, I need to close the house deal. I can think about this later. Half an hour later, after all discounts were calculated, the total price of the house came to 2.98 million yuan. The salesperson handed Shen the contract and asked him to sign. Both Liu Menglu and Qian were shocked. They couldn't believe Shen had just helped Chen Na buy a 3 million yuan house, and most importantly, he only put Chen Na's name on the contract. When will I ever get that kind of luck? They both thought. As soon as the contract was signed, Shen immediately received 14,900,000 yuan in his bank account. Shen was thrilled. His account balance had just crossed 15 million yuan. Even in his father's best days, they had never seen this kind of wealth at home. The system is incredible, he thought. If it weren't for Chen Na triggering the mission, I wouldn't have become a multi-millionaire overnight. Developing more female NPCs is definitely the right path. After that, he also received his second reward, a villa in Qingzhou Lake, Green City. The system told him to claim it at the sales office tomorrow at 9 a.m. Upon seeing this, Shen became even more excited. A villa? And it's one of the 10 super mansions in Star City. Meanwhile, the salesgirl looked at Shen with admiration. The real estate market isn't doing great, and yet Mr. Shen paid cash for a house for Miss Chen. And clearly, they're not even a couple. They don't even seem like boyfriend and girlfriend. I'd love to have a client like him. She told Shen, "The contract is signed. I'll contact Miss Chen to handle the remaining procedures." Then she asked, "Should we exchange WeChat contacts? That way, if you have any purchasing needs in the future, you can reach me anytime." Shen agreed and gave her his WeChat. Liu Menglu, visibly jealous, thought, "Where did this vixen come from? How dare she try to mess with my target?" She quickly stood up and said to Shen, "I've also been thinking about buying a small apartment lately. When I do, I'll definitely need your advice, with your experience." She added, "And if you ever need training, you can count on me." Shen nodded and shared his WeChat account with her too. Then he turned to Chen Na and said, "I've got other things to take care of this afternoon, so I won't be joining you. I also don't want to get in your way." Liu Menglu, however, couldn't believe he was leaving already, not even staying for a meal. With all she had to offer, she was disappointed, but she also knew this wasn't the right time. There would be more opportunities in the future. Then Chen Na asked Menglu and Qianqian to find a place to eat first, and afterward, she could show them her coffee shop. Qianqian excitedly told Chen Na, "Today is a happy day. You're throwing us a party for getting a house worth 3 million yuan." Menglu agreed, though her facial expression showed that her thoughts were still on Shen. Half an hour later, back in the school cafeteria, Shen was getting himself something to eat when he noticed Professor Li sitting alone, lost in thought. Just then, she received a phone call from Secretary Liu, asking her if she had prepared the materials and if the report would be ready by tomorrow. Professor Li told Secretary Liu not to worry, it would be ready. She had already looked into it. Right now, the University of Science and Technology, the Agricultural University, and even the business school all had this kind of startup base. Then Secretary Liu asked if she was free tomorrow night, but she refused and apologized, saying she truly had something else planned. After the call ended, Shen walked over and asked her what was wrong. Professor Li told him that the school was planning to establish a startup base for college students, and she was part of the working group. That's what the call had been about. Shen, curious, asked her to tell him more about the startup base. Professor Li explained that the school planned to support students with entrepreneurial ideas by offering funding, space, and guidance, but currently, they were facing challenges due to a lack of funding and needed to partner with outside companies. Shen then asked what conditions the school could offer these companies in exchange for investment. Professor Li admitted that the school didn't have much to offer, just talent. The idea was to sign contracts with companies, promising to send them high-quality graduates each year. Hearing this, Shen replied, "The school doesn't really have an advantage there. Our graduates' quality doesn't compare to those from elite universities. There's nothing exciting enough to attract investment." Professor Li nodded. She understood that if companies didn't see any benefit, they naturally wouldn't invest. What frustrated her most, however, was that Secretary Liu was pressuring her to attend drinking sessions with company directors, hoping she could persuade them to invest in the project. Seeing how worried she looked, Shen realized something was off. Even though he had 10 million yuan in exclusive investment funds and was willing to invest, he also had to consider profitability. For the project to be sustainable, the student success rate needed to reach 33%, but at their school, it might not even hit 20%. Just then, Shen was about to speak, but before he could say anything, Professor Li asked if he was interested, thinking Shen Yuan might want to start a business. Shen nodded and replied, "But not exactly. I'm actually thinking of sponsoring this project." Professor Li smiled and said, "It's good to have that idea, but since the project hasn't launched yet, it may be difficult." Just as Shen was thinking it through, the system suddenly triggered a mission. He have to earn prestige points by investing in university projects, and for every 500 prestige points accumulated, he gets one draw, with a chance to gain attribute points or special skills. This prestige points represent the host's reputation within the university. They reflect admiration, recognition, and respect from students and faculty. These points are only valid within the university system. Shen was surprised. He couldn't believe this could trigger a mission too. Well, after all, the exclusive investment funds were given by the system. If he didn't have to worry about profitability and could earn prestige points instead, then this startup-based project was perfect. It would also help Professor Li solve her urgent problem. Absolutely. He was the investor. He got to decide who to invest in and how much. Wouldn't it be awesome to invest in the shops of older and younger female classmates, rack up prestige points, and at the same time boost their affection? He could make so much money his hands would hurt from counting it. So he asked the professor, if someone or a company is willing to invest, who evaluates which students get the funding, the investor or the school? Better to clear that up now. He didn't want to invest his own money only for the school to interfere later. Professor Li told him that, in theory, the school was supposed to evaluate the students, but since they currently couldn't find any investors, there was plenty of room for negotiation. However, she frowned and asked Shen, "Why are you asking all of this all of a sudden?" Shen smiled and said, "Because I want to invest. But I have one condition. I must be the one to evaluate which students receive the funding." Professor Li didn't believe him at all. "This isn't the time to joke," she said. "Didn't your family go bankrupt recently? You even applied for financial aid." Shen didn't bother trying to convince her with words. He simply pulled out his phone, opened his bank app, and showed her his balance. "Take a close look," he said. "See how many zeros I've got." There was no need to be discreet anymore. In fact, he needed to show off more if he wanted to earn more prestige points. Professor Li looked closely and couldn't believe it. Shen's account was loaded with 15 million yuan. She asked in disbelief, "How did you earn so much money?" "Didn't your family go bankrupt?" Shen explained. "Back when my family business was still doing okay, I also started investing in cryptocurrency and foreign exchange markets. I earned this money myself. Professor Lee was still in shock. She couldn't believe one of her students was a multi-millionaire. Shen stepped closer to her and said, "Come away with me. In the future, we'll travel the world, and I'll make sure you live in luxury." Professor Lee blushed, flustered by the bold statement. "Don't be silly," she muttered. Then she asked Shen, "Are you really sure you want to invest in this project? As far as I know, college startup bases seldom turn a profit. You should think carefully. This isn't a small amount of money." But Shen told her, "I understand that, but it doesn't matter. I mainly want to contribute to my alma mater's development." Seeing how serious Shen was, Professor Lee started to wonder, is he doing all this for me? But she quickly dismissed those thoughts. He's my student. I can't think of him like that. She stood up and told Shen, "I'll talk to Secretary Liu about it later. You take your time eating. We'll talk more soon." Before she left, Shen reminded her with a grin, "Think about my proposal too." A moment later, Chen Na sent Shen a few photos of herself with a cup of coffee, and told him she made it herself. She invited him to come try it when he had time. For Shen though, the coffee wasn't what caught his attention. It was the outfit she was wearing. That's what's really tempting. So he headed toward the coffee shop to meet her. Meanwhile, one of Shen Yuan's classmates, Kong Xiaoyi, from Group 2 of International Trade, was out shopping with 2 other classmates. One of them said, "Shen Yuan's no longer the rich kid. He's broke now. Why do you still think about him every day? He probably has to work part-time just to pay his tuition." But the short-haired girl with the pink skull cap turned to Yu Ping, the one who had been speaking, and replied, "I'm the one dating Huang Haibao, not you." Shen Yuan's roommate? Yu Ping scoffed and told her friends, "Don't even bring him up. I've already turned him down multiple times, but he keeps chasing after me. Still," she added with a smirk, "when he treats me to a meal, I'll invite you both along. Let's see how he reacts." She continued, half laughing, "But hey, if I go out with Huang Haibao, at least I get a free meal. If you hang around Shen Yuan, you'll only end up losing money. So, Xiaoyi, you really need to think carefully." Just then, the short-haired girl in the pink skirt noticed Shen approaching and quickly nudged Yu Ping. "Lower your voice. Look, Shen Yuan's coming," Yu Ping mockingly remarked. "Oh look, is he heading to his part-time job? It's just past 3, exactly when restaurants start prepping for the dinner rush." The girl in the pink skirt laughed and said, "Let's ask him where he's working. Maybe we'll stop by and support him." Xiaoyi tried to stop them, whispering, "Isn't that a bit inappropriate? We're all classmates. No need to mock him like that." But Yu Ping didn't listen. She walked up to Shen and said with fake concern, "Hey, we haven't seen you around lately." "Been busy with a part-time job," she added with a smirk. "Which place is it? We could come by and show our support." Shen smiled to himself. What kind of question is that? A part-time job? Do they really think I need one? But since his roommate Huang was chasing after Yu Ping, he decided to play along rather than cause drama. He'd mess with them a bit. He casually replied, "I'm working at a coffee shop. Come by sometime. I'll treat you to some free coffee." However, when they arrived at the cafe, the girls were stunned. They couldn't believe their eyes. 2 beautiful women were there. "Are they models?" one of them whispered. "They're so stylish and gorgeous. They look like they stepped out of a manga." Their figures were unreal. Big bust, slim waist, firm butt. Is it even possible for someone to look like that in real life? As Shen approached, both of these stunning women leaned in warmly toward him, clearly familiar and close. Yu Ping and her friends were frozen in shock. Then, Liu Menglu looked at Shen and said with a playful frown, "Didn't you say you had things to do this afternoon?" But here he was, just casually hanging out, with 3 female classmates. Shen told Liu Menglu that he had found them on the street. They wanted to grab a coffee. So, he invited them to join. Then, he turned to Xiao Chu and told her to ask these 3 beauties what they wanted, and not to ask them for the bill as it was his treat. Xiao Chu asked them to sit anywhere they wanted, to scan the QR code on the table, and to order whatever they wanted. Yu Ping, however, couldn't believe that Shen was not an employee but the owner of this coffee shop. Upon seeing this, Xiaoyi told her friends it was better not to order anything. Yu Ping agreed with her suggestion. Embarrassed, both of them quietly walked out of the coffee shop. Yu Ping commented on how shameless Shen was. If he's so rich, owns a coffee shop, and has such a beautiful woman, why does he say he's working part-time? Seeing Shen's colleagues leave in a hurry, Liu Menglu asked him why his colleagues had left. Shen smiled and said, "Maybe they got scared when they saw those 2 stunning fairies." Hearing this, Liu Menglu, flirting and teasingly, told Shen that of course they're beautiful, but if he wants such beauty, he should also work hard and not daydream. Moments later, Chen Na made coffee for Shen and gave it to him, but she was not sure how much sugar he liked, so she made it half sweet. Shen flirted and told Chen Na that even if she made it with all the sugar, he would happily drink it. Liu Menglu couldn't believe that in such a modern era, he was still spouting these cheesy lines. But she knows when a handsome rich guy says cheesy lines, they sound different. Then she asked Shen to tell her how tall he is and how much he weighs, so she can calculate his BMI and prepare a good training session for him. Shen gave her all the details and told her that he had recently lost a bit of weight. Liu Menglu curiously asked him why he had lost weight. Shen looked at Chen Na and said it was due to energy expenditure. Chen Na blushed and whispered in Shen's ear, asking why he was saying that in front of her friends. Liu Menglu, however, realized what he meant. She advised Shen to exercise more and to gain 7 to 10 kilograms of body fat muscle. In short, she wanted him to subscribe to her gym. Liu Menglu smiled and told him if he subscribed now, she would give him a really good discount, and he wouldn't feel down. Shen simply told her that he would think about it. Liu Menglu then realized it was already past 4 and said goodbye to Shen and Chen Na, telling them that she had to go back. She had a class at 5, so she would meet them next time. But before she left, she winked at Shen. Shen, surprised, couldn't believe how bold she was in front of her friends, but he knew sooner or later, she would become one of his money-making trees. After Liu Menglu left, Shen grabbed Chen Na's hand and asked her to come with him to the second floor so he could give her a workout. Chen Na, confused, asked him what kind of workout. Shen told her to just follow, and she would see. On the second floor, Shen grabbed Chen Na and told her, "Your work skills aren't very good, you need extra training." However, Chen Na tried to stop him, telling him they couldn't do it here. Xiao Qiu was still there, but Shen didn't listen. He slowly started to remove Chen Na's clothes and started kissing her. Meanwhile, Xiao Qiu, who was on the first floor taking care of leftover dishes, just then started hearing some strange noises from the second floor. At first, she thought about what kind of noise they were, but slowly she realized what was going on. Her face turned red in embarrassment, and she quickly closed the cafe so no one could disturb them. However, before she closed the door, suddenly Liu Menglu walked inside telling her to open the door because she had forgotten her bag, but Xiao Qiu didn't want to. But when Liu Menglu insisted, she eventually opened the door for her. But when she entered and was just about to get her bag, she heard Chen Na and Shen's voices from the second floor. She couldn't believe they were so lively in broad daylight. She waited there. 10 minutes later, she was surprised to see how slim he was, yet so strong in bed. She realized that no matter what, she had to get Shen. Speaking loudly, she said to Xiao Qiu that she had found her bag and was heading out. Meanwhile, Shen didn't care, but Chen Na was embarrassed. She couldn't believe his friend heard everything. But for Shen, this was really exciting. He thought an exciting training session definitely needed listeners to be authentic. Liu Menglu, that fairy, had been eavesdropping downstairs for at least 10 minutes. Is this pay-per-view program free? Next time, he's going to charge her. Meanwhile, at the university, Secretary Liu asked Professor Li if she had told him that a student named Shen Yuan wants to invest in the startup base. Professor Li nodded. Secretary Liu asked her if he had the capacity, and if she had verified his funds. Professor Li told Secretary Liu that at first, she didn't believe it either. But when she saw his bank account balance of over 10 million with her own eyes, she realized he was not lying. Secretary Liu, shocked, asked her if she was telling the truth, and if he really had 10 million. She also asked if he was sure the money wasn't from his parents, and that he had the right to use it. Professor Li told Secretary Liu that the money was all Shen's, and he had full control over it. Secretary Liu smiled and told Professor Li that in that case, they didn't need to keep cooperating with external companies. He told Professor Li to invite Shen to his office and discuss cooperation with him. However, Professor Li told the secretary that even though Shen is a student, if they want him to be an investor, shouldn't they be more friendly? Secretary Liu smiled and told her not to worry, and to do as he said. Of course, a student from their own school, they can't let him get too big for his britches, they need to keep him humble. Meanwhile, Shen, who was busy with his work, suddenly received a call from Professor Li. Then he asked her about the situation. Professor Li explained the whole situation, and the things that Secretary Liu asked her to tell him. Shen, after hearing everything, couldn't believe the school's attitude toward investors wasn't right. They want to control him. Even if he gave in this time, there's no guarantee they won't try to take advantage next time. So he asked Professor Li to turn on the speaker. He wanted to speak with Secretary Liu. Professor Li did what Shen said. Over the speaker, he told Secretary Liu that lately he had been very busy, and he had several investment projects to evaluate, so he would see them when he had time, and he told Professor Li Xiao to give him his number. But before Secretary Liu could say anything, he hung up the call. Professor Li blushed, unable to believe he actually dared to hang up on the secretary. She didn't expect him to have so much backbone. Secretary Liu's face went pale, and he couldn't believe a student dared to hang up on him. All the student leaders bow to him with respect. Is that stinky money all he has? He knows this project is urgent. If there's no progress soon, Secretary Kong will surely hold them accountable. So, he told Professor Lee that since Shen was willing to invest, to invite him to dinner. Professor Lee agreed, and messaged him. Shen smiled, thinking they wanted to invite him to dinner. Now he held the advantage in the negotiation. He must secure total control over the investment. First, he would make Lu Zhaojiang wait. Chen Na put on her clothes and said to Shen that if he was busy, he could go. They would have dinner some other time. Shen smiled, unable to believe what a wonderful woman Chen Na is. She is so considerate in everything. Chen Na blushed and got back to her work. Meanwhile, Shen received a phone call from Manhwa, asking him if he had time to walk around the sports field. Shen teasingly asked her if it was just a walk, or if there was something interesting. Embarrassed, Manhwa told him that they couldn't do that because she was on her period. Hearing this, Shen realized why she hadn't come to see him these days. Manhwa, still embarrassed, told Shen that if he wanted to, it wasn't totally impossible. Shen grabbed his pants and told her that her health comes first, and asked her to wait while he came to get her at the dorm. Sometime later, he reached the girls' dorm. Upon seeing him, Manhwa rushed at him and hugged him tightly. Shen told her to take care of herself these days, telling her that everything else can wait, but her health comes first. She kissed Shen on the cheek and asked him about their relationship, wanting to clarify what kind of relationship they have today, given that they've already done what couples do and more. Every woman wants a commitment. However, for Shen, that question is dangerous. But his affection for Huimin has increased, and she really likes him. So he told her that of course, they're a couple. Manhwa smiled excitedly, and declared that from that day on, she was the only girlfriend he had. But the other girls he had weren't called girlfriends. They were called honey, baby, darling, sweetie. Since Shen was being so good to her, she decided to give him a nice reward in a few days. Shen also told her that he would take her to buy a big gift this weekend, whatever she wanted. A car, or a house. Manhwa was surprised and couldn't believe he wanted to buy her a house and a car, but she told him that was too much for her. Bags and makeup were enough. But Shen told her not to worry about money. Since she was always at school now, she wouldn't use a car much. He decided to gift her a house first, and get the car when she needed it. Manhwa smiled and agreed with him. Then Shen took her back to the dorm, making sure she should rest more during her period. And tomorrow, he had to go to Qingzhou Lake to receive a mysterious property the system had given him. The next day, while Shen was on his way to receive the mysterious property, Liu Menglu called him and asked him to come to the gym. Shen smiled and told her he had some work to do today, but when he got free, he would come there. Liu Menglu smiled, thinking that with that tone, he already saw her as family. Let's see how many more days you can last. Just as she was talking to Shen, suddenly Miss Zhou, who is also Shen's ex-girlfriend, called her from behind. Seeing Liu Menglu so happy, Miss Zhou asked her why she was so happy this early, but Liu Menglu told her it was nothing. She was talking to a friend and found it really funny. However, Miss Zhou forced Liu Menglu to tell her. Forced by Miss Zhou so much, Liu Menglu eventually told her that a friend of hers got a super generous sugar daddy who gifted her a $3 million apartment. Shocked, Zhou couldn't believe it. He bought a $3 million house just like that. He must have at least tens of millions. But she asked Liu Menglu if, with that kind of money, the sugar daddy must be pretty old, right? But for Zhou, even if he's old, it's worth it. Her fool Ho Jun is getting stingier by the day, wants to sleep with her but won't spend a dime. She also wants a sugar daddy like that who can buy a $3 million house without any problem. But Liu Menglu told Zhou that the guy is barely in his 20s, and is even younger than her friend. Upon hearing this, Zhou thought if he is younger, he is probably an ugly guy. However, to her surprise, Liu Menglu told her that he is young, pretty handsome, and tall too. Hearing this, Zhou asked Coach Liu if her friend is very pretty. To snag a guy like that, she must be drop-dead gorgeous. Liu Menglu told her that both of them are pretty similar, each with their own charm. Zhou, upon hearing this, realized if she looks like Liu Menglu, no wonder men fall for her. Just then, she received Shen's message telling her that he was heading to Qingzhou Lake to receive the property. Liu Menglu excitedly asked Shen if he was going alone, and if she could come. Shen told her that he was going alone, but if she was free, she could come with him. Upon hearing this, Liu Menglu quickly sent him her location, and told him to come pick her up at the fitness center. Seeing Liu Menglu more happy, Zhou asked her what other good news she had that made her even happier than before. Liu Menglu apologized to her, telling her that she would have to cancel their session today and would refund her double. She told Zhou that the sugar daddy she mentioned asked her to join him to receive a property at Qingzhou Lake. Zhou was shocked because she remembered Qingzhou Lake. That luxury complex is one of the most exclusive areas. But she suddenly realized and thought, Wasn't the sugar daddy her friend's? Why is he calling her to receive the property? But she gets it now. Just like she expected from Coach Liu, she even stole her friend's man. However, she knows if it were her, with a man like that, she would probably do the same. As Liu Menglu was going outside to meet Shen, suddenly one of the trainers, Han Lihai, who likes Liu Menglu, asked her where she was going and reminded her that she had a class later. However, Liu Menglu completely ignored him and didn't want to talk to him. Moments later, Shen arrived in front of Liu Menglu's training center to pick her up. However, Zhou and Han Lihai were watching this from inside. Han Lihai couldn't believe a guy who drives an M9 could win over Menglu, when not even the guy with the G-class could do it. Zhou, who was standing beside him, told him not to judge this guy by his cover. This guy bought his girlfriend a $3 million apartment without blinking. Han Lihai, shocked, asked Zhou if she was joking because $3 million is his 1 year's earnings. But before Zhou could say anything, she noticed that the guy inside the car looked somewhat familiar to her. What she was thinking at first was right. He is her ex-boyfriend Shen. Shocked, she couldn't believe the tall, handsome, young, and wealthy guy Coach Liu talked about was Shen Yuan, her ex-boyfriend, who became a millionaire, and she had dumped him just 2 weeks ago after finding out that his family went bankrupt. Zhou couldn't believe she actually missed a chance to be with him instead of Bao Jun. Just then, she received a message from Bao Jun telling her that he had some information. Zhou, furious, thought, who does he think he is? He always tries to skip the formalities and get straight to the point. Do I look that cheap to him? Bao Jun asked Zhou Min to come to his place tonight. However, Zhou told him off. Confused and surprised, Bao Jun asked Zhou Min if it was really her, but she blocked him. Furious, Bao Jun couldn't believe she blocked him just like that. He didn't even know what the heck just happened. Regretting her decision, Zhou Min wondered if she still had a shot with Shen to get back together. She stayed up late, trained like hell, and now he turns out to be that good? Coach Liu, the girls from the university, and her bestie. No doubt they are all beautiful, but if she joins in too, would that not be too much? Meanwhile, in Shen's car, Liu Menglu was impressed by how huge Shen's car is. With a car like this, he could totally go off-road camping anytime. And when there's a hot girl with curves sitting in his passenger seat, no way his mind isn't going places, she thought. Shen smiled and told her that he doesn't usually think about, but off-road sounds nice, and he will try it sometime next time. Liu Menglu looked at him and said he really doesn't play by the rules. Shen smiled and asked what that would mean. Then he asked Liu Menglu, how about I say it like this? Coach Liu, I want to play ball. Liu Menglu smiled and pinched Shen's shoulder, saying he is such a tease. 30 minutes later, both of them reached Qingzhou Lake. Shen went inside and told the salesperson that he was here to finalize the house contract. The real estate agent, Guan Shufeng, welcomed Shen and asked him if he would like to see the house first or review the contract. But Shen told her to just sign the contract directly. He'll view the house after that. Guan Shufeng nodded and gave Shen all the house-related documents to sign. After the contract was signed, Guan Shufeng accompanied Shen and Liu Menglu to review the house. While on their way to see the house, Guan Shufeng noticed that Mr. Shen and this lady clearly don't look like a couple. But compared to her, that woman's figure, it's kind of unfair. She couldn't believe why there's such a difference between women. Women like her don't need skills. Just their looks and curves are enough to make men fall head over heels and willingly buy them houses. She is so envious. But she knows ordinary girls like her don't get those chances. Moments later, they reached the house, and Liu Menglu was amazed to see how gorgeous this place is. The life of rich people is like a dream everyone like her wants, and someday she also wants to live in a place like this. To achieve that, she's got to lock Shen down. Guan Shufeng also detailed the house to Shen, stating the villa's area is 610 square meters, but including the garden and facilities, it can reach 2,000 square meters. It's still bare, so he can freely design and decorate it. Liu Menglu was also impressed and couldn't believe how big this villa is. Just as Shen was amazed by the house, the system congratulated him on acquiring his first home and mentioned that a perfect life needs not just property, but uniquely styled interior decoration. So the system gave him 20 million yuan in exclusive renovation funds to renovate and modify his house. Shen, shocked, couldn't believe the system was serious, using 20 million to renovate a house worth just over 10 million. But he couldn't deny whatever the system said, he could only obey. So he asked Miss Guan if she knew any good renovation companies. Miss Guan nodded and told him that there are several top renovation companies in Star City with great reputations their company knows, so she would send Shen their contact info later. Now, for Shen, there's not much to see in a bare-bones house anyway. He told Miss Guan that's enough. However, Liu Menglu, excited, asked Shen if she could record a video and post it on QuickSound. Shen agreed, but told her not to show his face. Liu Menglu teased him, saying a guy like him would bet other influencers if he posted edited pics of his online. Curious, Shen asked Liu Menglu how many followers she has on QuickSound. Liu Menglu smiled and said that she has over 50,000 followers. Shen asked her if she has a lot of local fans. Liu Menglu nodded and told him that most of them are local. She teasingly asked him if he is trying to sneak a peek at her videos. Shen smiled and told her if 50,000 other men have already seen it, what difference does it make if he does? Liu Menglu got closer to him and told him that he is not like them. They only get to see the regular version. On the other hand, he gets the premium custom edition. Shen excitedly asks Liu Menglu to send him her QuickSound account later. He's got a bar review video coming up. If she wants in, she can try filming with him. Liu Menglu is surprised to find out that Shen has a review channel too. She quickly sends her QuickSound account to him. After that, Shen asks Liu Menglu if he should drive her back to the gym now, or if she wants to go somewhere else. Liu Menglu smiles and asks, "Where else would I go? Got something in mind?" Shen teasingly says they were going to go play ball. However, Liu Menglu tells him to keep dreaming. Men are all the same. Yesterday, in that kind of place, he dared to hit on her bestie, and now he's still trying to act all smug with her. Upon hearing this, Shen stops the car instantly and tells Liu Menglu, "You dare bring up yesterday, when I haven't even done anything to you yet?" He tells her that since she cares so much about her, why doesn't she take her place? Liu Menglu is surprised and wonders if he's being serious or joking. She knows if a woman gives herself up too quickly, she comes off as cheap, and men won't treasure her. The harder Shen Yuan finds it to get her, the more he'll want her, and the more he'll invest in her. That's why she's stringing him along, giving a little taste each day. So after he works so hard to get her, he'll treasure her and submit completely to her. She doesn't say anything, and quickly gets out of the car, says goodbye to him, and asks him to drop by the gym sometime. Shen also says goodbye to her, and hopes they shoot sometime. Liu Menglu, excited, went back into the gym, excited to finally get what she wants. However, as she enters the gym manager, Huang Mingbo, calls her and asks her why she skipped her private client session this morning, and mentions it's a violation of the contract. Liu Menglu, confused, tells manager Huang that she had something personal to take care of at the last minute. So she informed Miss Zhou, saying she'll be refunded double for the session. But manager Huang tells her that she may have agreed to refund Miss Zhou double for the session, but she still lodged a formal complaint. Liu Menglu, confused, wonders why Miss Zhou suddenly came after her, but she guesses manager Huang has got something on her now. First, he scolds her as the manager, then switches to a wise guy tone, acting like he's advising her. Does he think that's enough to win her over? But for her, that kind of man who can conquer her sure isn't his type. So she thanks manager Huang and excuses herself, telling him if there's nothing else, she'll get back to work. But manager Huang tells her that it's almost noon, and she's got no sessions. So he invites Liu Menglu to eat together, but she refuses, telling him that she brought her own lunch and doesn't consume things with too much exposure. "I'm a coach inside and out, doing even the boss's job, and you think you can pressure me? I'm a woman headed for the show's luxury mansion. Trash like him can't even compare to her dog." Meanwhile, at the school committee secretary Kong Zongping's office, Secretary Liu informed Secretary Kong that the school advisor was asking what reason the student named Shen Yuan had to be directly admitted to the entrepreneurship base. Secretary Kong replied that it was Shen's homeroom teacher who recommended him. He then asked Secretary Liu if he had interacted with Shen. Secretary Liu said not yet, adding that he had asked Shen to send over the application materials, but Shen hadn't responded so far. Hearing that, Secretary Kong told Secretary Liu that since they were processing this, they needed to get all the details about Shen straight. They couldn't just rush into any decision. Secretary Liu replied, and said they must avoid carelessness. So, he suggested, "How about I reach out to Shen in advance?" Secretary Kong said no, and told him they still shouldn't act rashly and alert Shen. He added that this afternoon they would hold a preliminary meeting and bring Teacher Li along. Secretary Liu was surprised to hear that Secretary Kong was going in person. That was a much bigger deal than him and the academic dean showing up. Then at 5 p.m., in the boys' dormitory, while Shen was resting, Lin Chin came in and called out, "Third bro?" He told Shen that he had been chatting with Tian Yuping on WeChat for a long time, and asked Shen to estimate how much longer before he could conquer her. Hearing that, Shen took his phone and saw that Lin Chin had been sending long messages to Tian Yuping, while she responded minimally. Seeing that, Shen thought, Lin Chin really is damn persistent. Over 3 years, and not even a bit of progress. Lin Chin asked Shen what he thought, saying, "She replies to every single message now. Totally different from before when she never did. This is a qualitative leap. I can feel the progress bar steadily moving forward." Hearing that, Shen thought, "Lin Chin, if that's how you really see it, then what else can I say? As long as you're happy." He told Lin Chin he should just ask Lao Chao to tutor him. Lao Chao was their third roommate, but Lin Chin immediately replied that Lao Chao was a total virgin. What does he know? You're the most experienced one in this dorm. Hearing that, Lao Chao asked, Brother Lin Chin? I didn't offend you today, did I? But Lin Chin completely ignored him and continued, at the very least, she's replying to my messages. She even agreed to go out this weekend. Doesn't that mean she's warming up to me again? He asked Shen to say something. Shen forced a smile and said, yeah, definitely. Hearing that, Lin Chin got too happy and said, if even third bro says so, then it's definitely happening. Seeing Lin's reaction, Shen thought, those higher-ups are seriously terrifying. Suddenly, someone knocked on their dorm room door. Lin Chin went to open it, asking, who's there? But the moment he opened the door, he saw Secretary Kong, Secretary Lu, and Teacher Li standing there. Shocked, Lin Chin asked, why are you all here? Teacher Li asked him if Shen Yuan was in. Lin Chin said yes, and invited all three of them in. Lin Chin was stunned to find that all three of them were here for third bro, wondering, did he break some heavenly law or what? Seeing both secretaries and Professor Li in the dorm, everyone started whispering, wondering why two school officials had come to a student dorm. A student asks others, what's going on? One guy said, they're here to see Shen Yuan. His family's bankrupt, but he's still buying a car and dating someone off campus. Isn't he probably doing something illegal? Hearing the commotion, John Peng arrived and added, for sure Shen's doing something shady. Otherwise, how would Shen Yuan have so much money? Definitely a big issue. Seeing John Peng there, the others asked him what exactly was going on. Did he know anything? Tell them more. John Peng told them that the source of Shen Yuan's money wasn't clean, so it was normal for the school leaders to come. They're probably just holding him until the cops show up, he added. Hearing that, Lin Chin stepped out angrily and told him to stop talking nonsense. John Peng laughed and said, whether I'm talking crap or not, just wait and see. Meanwhile, inside the room, Teacher Li introduced the two secretaries to Shen, telling him, these are Secretary Kong and Secretary Lu from the student committee. Hearing that, Shen stood up and greeted Secretary Kong. Secretary Kong formally introduced himself as Kong Zongping from the committee and asked Shen if he had time tonight to join them for a meal. When Shen heard tonight, he said, sure. Secretary Kong smiled and replied, I'll book the restaurant right now. He told Shen it was getting late anyway, so they should go together and talk properly about the entrepreneurship base. And so, Kong Zongping and the others left with Shen Yuan. Seeing Shen leaving with them, one student commented, looking at those three, it doesn't look like they're here to investigate Shen Yuan, more like they're welcoming a visiting official to exchange experience. But a jealous John Peng said, I bet they're just saving face for Shen Yuan. Didn't you see the news? Even when they arrest someone important, they still cover their head with a black hood. Hearing that, Lin Chin came out and mocked John Peng, saying, let's just say Shen's a deep cover agent. Two secretaries came to invite our third bro for dinner. Bet you didn't see that coming. Hearing that two secretaries were inviting Shen Yuan for dinner, everyone was shocked and said, that's some serious clout. Lin Chin tried to provoke John Peng further, saying, Shen Yuan must have done something huge if even the school leaders are lowering themselves to ask him out. Hearing that, John Peng grew very angry. Another guy said, Shen Yuan is terrifying. He's no longer on the same level as us. Meanwhile, Secretary Kong had taken everyone to Nanjing restaurant. Once there, Secretary Kong told Shen Yuan, go ahead and talk about your plan and requirements. I want to fully understand what you're aiming for. Shen told Secretary Kong that for him to invest, his conditions must be met. Of course, this won't result in any loss for the school, he added. Secretary Kong replied, there's no need to hold back. Speak freely. Shen then told them he wanted full autonomy. That meant he decides who gets the investment and how much, and the school can't interfere in those decisions. Hearing that, Secretary Lu was shocked, asking, what did he say? He told Shen, that's not how it works. But Secretary Kong asked Secretary Lu to calm down. He then turned to Shen and said, university entrepreneurship bases involve many sides, especially with the Education Bureau involved. Even if all the funds are from private investors, it's still tricky. Former principals always had to consider the student success rate from these programs. Hearing that, Shen smiled and told Secretary Kong, without funding, talk of success rates is just empty words. He told them they could consider him the base's actual person in charge. Success rate depends on whether the supported students can make money. And since I'm investing money, of course I want them to make money. Our goals are actually the same. Shen was speaking from the heart, because the system's mission was to help him build up new industries and reputation, then slowly turn him into a tycoon. In the future, he would definitely need lots of professionals to manage his massive industry matrix, so rather than hiring outsiders later, why not use this base now to train his own core team? What's even more important is that the system's missions require a large number of female NPCs. The women out in society are nowhere near as easy to handle as college girls. And the quality of girls at their school? It's famously the best in all of Star City. After thinking for a few minutes, Secretary Kong told Shen that regarding his request, he would have to get back to him after attending a seminar with the Education Bureau leaders. Shen agreed to that. Then, with clinking glasses and flowing wine, the dinner finally ended late into the night. After their dinner, Secretary Kong and Secretary Lee walked to their car. While leaving, Secretary Kong told Teacher Lee that since Shen had been drinking and couldn't drive, she should take him back. As he said this, Teacher Lee went with Shen. As she got into the car, she told Shen, "Your new car is super spacious." Shen smiled and told her, "I got tired of driving sedans, so this time I wanted to try an SUV." Just then, Teacher Lee got a call from her sister, Lee Meng, who told her that she had to switch shifts and couldn't help with the move. Teacher Lee told her it was fine because she had already arranged for a mover. She reassured her sister not to worry, saying she had something to do now and would talk later. Hearing the conversation, Shen asked Teacher Lee if she was moving. Teacher Lee said yeah, and told Shen she was moving in a couple of days. The lease on her last place was up, and this new one was something her guardian and she were renting. Shen immediately asked if she wanted him to help her move. Teacher Lee told Shen that wasn't ideal because he just got a new car, and helping her move didn't really feel right. Shen smiled and told her, "It's no big deal. A car's just a tool, something for moving things. If it makes students feel cool, that's great too." But Teacher Lee still insisted, telling Shen not to trouble himself because there were still a lot of separate things to buy. Shen wasn't backing down either. "Come on, counselor. Stop trying to dodge it. I'm your student. Helping you move is no big deal." Hearing that, Teacher Lee started blushing and finally agreed. While looking at Shen's face, she thought, Shen Yuan's face was on the lean side, with sharp features. If she set aside his identity as a student and looked from the perspective of the opposite sex, he was actually kind of handsome. But suddenly, it hit Teacher Lee. Shen had hinted at it like that, offered to help her move, and it even fit the earlier signs. That meant, he really is into me. And about that bag, he said before it was a high-quality knockoff, but judging by his actual financial situation, it must have been genuine. To confirm it, she asked Shen if he remembered the bag he had given her before. Shen said, "I remember." "What about it?" Teacher Lee turned to him and said, "You said it was a replica last time. It was actually genuine. But it doesn't matter, since you're a student who's not short on money now, giving a gift to a teacher you like." Hearing that, Shen panicked and said, "What I meant was, as a respectful gift for a teacher." "What about the bag?" Teacher Lee became too embarrassed, thinking, as expected, but it's not appropriate. First, I'm older than him, and second, we're teacher and student. She tried to say something, but Shen told her, "It's fine now. There's no need to say things like you refuse, because either way, I'm not giving up." By now, they had arrived at Teacher Lee's home. As they got out of the car, Teacher Lee asked Shen if he was sleeping at home tonight. Shen said no, telling her that there was no room for him upstairs, so he was heading back to the dorm. Hearing that, Teacher Lee handed Shen the car key, saying, "Then I'll park the car here, and you can come pick it up tomorrow." Shen reached out for the key, and while doing so, he kissed Teacher Lee on the cheek, shocking her. Teacher Lee started blushing, thinking Shen was getting bolder and bolder. Last time it was at home for dinner, once in the office, and now he even dared to kiss her directly. Embarrassed, Teacher Lee ran away from there saying, "Shen Yuan, you are a bad student." Shen smiled, seeing her cute reaction. Just then, he got a call from Chen Na, asking if he was at school. She explained that Miss Lin Yuchang had left something at the cafe, and asked Shen if he could open the door for her, since she was almost there. Chen Na and Xiao Chu both lived far away, and couldn't make it in time. Shen said, "All right, I'll open the door." When Shen arrived at the cafe, Miss Lin was already there. She apologized to Shen Yuan, telling him that she had left some of her child's toys in the cafe and had forgotten to take them last time. Shen told her it was no problem and opened the door for her. He turned on the lights as Miss Lin searched for the toys. She saw that they were under the table and pulled out a bag, telling Shen that these were all toys her child had dropped when he came there to play, and that they were scattered all over the place. As she bent down to collect the toys, she unintentionally showed Shen a very beautiful view. Shen told her there was no rush. She could take her time searching. He asked how old her child was. Miss Lin told Shen that her child was 3 years old and quite cheeky. While speaking, she also picked up a wine bottle. Seeing the wine, Shen wondered to himself, could it be that Miss Lin often drank alone in the cafe? Miss Lin looked around the cafe and, with a sad expression, said, I've taken everything. Seeing her like that, Shen asked, can't bear to part with it. Miss Lin touched the table in front of her and told Shen, it's not that I can't bear to part with it. It's just that I think of the days and nights it accompanied me. Noticing that she was suddenly feeling emotional upon seeing the scene, Shen realized this must have something to do with her husband, Zheng Xianyong. If it weren't for the sadness in her heart, she wouldn't be alone in a cafe, drinking to drown her sorrows. You can come back often to have a look. But Miss Lin said she might not come back anymore and turned to leave. Shen called out to her, and pointing at the wine in her bag said, Miss Lin, if you don't mind, could I have a couple of drinks with you? Miss Lin was surprised and asked, is that appropriate? Shen replied, there's nothing inappropriate about it. Shen took out some wine glasses, and both of them sat down to drink. While pouring her wine, Shen asked, feeling down? I guess it has something to do with family. Surprised, Miss Lin asked, how did you know? Shen told her that he actually knew her husband, Zheng Xianyong, who was the general manager of the 4S store. He said he had heard a little about what he had done, adding that Chen Na had been his employee before and had resigned because of her husband. Shocked, Miss Lin asked, could it be that Miss Chen and my husband were? Shen immediately clarified and told her that her husband, Zheng Xianyong, had frequently harassed Chen Na, and she left because she couldn't stand it anymore. Hearing that, Miss Lin let out a sigh of relief and said, that's good. Otherwise, my husband would have committed an even greater crime. She told Shen that she had actually been planning to divorce him recently and had collected a lot of evidence of his cheating. She had also read many chat records in which he threatened and bribed his subordinates. Annoyed by her husband, she said, we've been married for 5 years. I didn't expect him to be this kind of person. But I hesitate, because he's my child's father. I'm worried that if I divorce him, my child will grow up in a single-parent household and develop psychological problems. Hearing that, Shen advised her that when it's time to cut ties, it's important to do so. Children are certainly important, but letting them face this situation for too long will cause greater harm. Therefore, whether for herself or for the child, she must make the right decision. Hearing that, Miss Lin said it did make sense. She was surprised by Shen. She had always thought of him as young and generous, but now it seemed he was much more mature than she had imagined. He even exuded a unique charm that her husband, Zheng Xianyong, lacked. Looking at Shen's face remembers an old saying that you can't judge a man by his appearance, but being with a good-looking man can at least make you feel a lot better. Thinking all that, she started blushing and thanked Shen. It's no problem. After finishing her first glass, Miss Lin stood up and said, Shen said okay, and stood up to see her off. Just then, Miss Lin suddenly slipped on the floor. Shen quickly grabbed her and told her to be careful. Miss Lin, who was in Shen's arms, looked up, and seeing him so close, she began blushing. She softly said, sorry, as she stood up. Shen was confused. Why was she apologizing? But he didn't mind it, because her body smelled amazing. Before Shen could react, Miss Lin suddenly reached out and kissed him on the cheek. He was speechless. It was the same thing he had done to teacher Li, and now it happened to him. Embarrassed, Miss Lin immediately turned around and left. Watching her leave, Shen wondered, what does this kiss even count as? He was disappointed, muttering, this isn't enough. They should have gone one round. Meanwhile, walking back to her house, Miss Lin was extremely embarrassed. This must be because of the wine. For so many years, she had strictly adhered to the duties of a wife without overstepping any bounds. The only thing that was a bit out of line was fulfilling her own needs, and that had to be blamed on Zheng Xianyong for being a useless coward. But just now, she had surprisingly felt a sense of satisfaction, and she couldn't quite understand what that feeling was. On the other hand, Shen closed the cafe and called Chen Na, telling her that his dormitory was closed and he couldn't go back, so he'd sleep at her place tonight. Chen Na first told him to get a room outside, but Shen said, no need to waste money. He told her to relax, saying, I won't do anything tonight, I just want to hug you. 20 minutes later, Shen arrived at Chen Na's place. She opened the door and was surprised to see his condition. How much did you drink? She asked. Shen, who wasn't completely drunk, replied, it was the school leader's dinner gathering. I didn't have a choice. She helped him inside, telling him to sit for 10 minutes, then take a shower while she brewed him a cup of sobering tea. But Shen grabbed her from behind and asked her to wait, saying, hug comes first. Chen Na let him hug her, but Shen wasn't satisfied, and slowly started moving his hands. Embarrassed, Chen Na asked, is this what you meant by, just a hug? Shen replied, I'm just hugging, not doing anything else. Nana, you know my character. Hearing that, Chen Na thought, the first time I deceived myself by saying he came up to drink water. The second time, I told myself it was training. And now, this time, the excuse is even more pathetic, actually saying just hugging and doing nothing. She asked Shen, what do you mean by character? Do you still have one? Saying that, she pulled herself free. Shen then asked Chen Na, "Don't we have trust between each other anymore?" But Chen Na replied, "You said it yourself, so you can sleep using that quilt. It's just hugging, right? Then we'll use different quilts, and sleep on the same bed." Saying that, she immediately jumped onto the bed and hid under her quilt. Seeing her, Shen thought, although I was half-hearted the first 2 times, I thought Chen Na had already accepted it, but I didn't expect that she was still too conservative to let go. But Shen had many ways to deal with this long night. He covered himself with his quilt and started coughing, saying, "It's so cold." Hearing that, Chen Na immediately looked back and asked Shen, "What's wrong?" He told her, "The air conditioning is too cold." Hearing that, she turned to adjust the temperature, but Shen immediately grabbed her from behind, saying, "There's no need to adjust it. It'll be all right if we share a quilt." Chen Na finally realized that it was just an act, but it was already too late. Shen didn't give her any chance to reject, and both of them had a very long night. The next day, when Shen woke up, he found that Chen Na had already left a note saying, "I'm heading to the cafe. I've washed your clothes. They're not dry yet, so I bought you a new set of clothes. Breakfast is in the steamer. If the food's cold when you get up, you can heat it up." Reading that, Shen got so happy, thinking, where else can I find such a good woman? He decided he must reward her. He needed to allocate some time to buy a car for her. Just then, he got a video call from Liu Menglu, who was wearing gym clothes that almost revealed everything. She asked Shen, "When will you come to the gym? I'm still waiting for you." Seeing her, Shen's hormones immediately kicked in. He quickly moved his phone farther away, knowing she was playing these kinds of tricks early in the morning. He tried to convince himself, "She's Nana's best friend, don't look," but he couldn't convince his mind. He took another glance. Liu Menglu smiled and asked him, "Why did you move your phone so far away? Are you afraid I'll eat you up?" Shen couldn't say anything, and just tried to control himself, knowing that this bold woman was blatantly seducing him. While he was talking to her, he suddenly got a call from Teacher Li. Seeing this, he told Liu Menglu that he had something important to do, and would talk to her later. She said all right, and told him to focus on his work first. Shen then picked up Teacher Li's call and asked what happened. Teacher Li told him that his request had been approved by the school leadership and the education committee. They would draft the document and start the promotion in the next couple of days. Once the school received the application forms and project proposals submitted by the entrepreneurial students, they would send them to Shen for evaluation and review. Hearing this, Shen got happy and asked Teacher Li if the application form included height, weight, and a personal photo. Hearing that, Teacher Li got confused and asked Shen if she really had to fill in this information, and what entrepreneurial intention had to do with height and weight. Shen lied, telling her that of course it did. A qualified entrepreneur needed to have a good physique and appearance. He said he could judge whether a student was disciplined based on their looks, as he had high standards. Teacher Li got even more confused, asking if there really was such a saying. She felt that something seemed off, but didn't have a choice. She told Shen that she would add what he said. She also informed Shen that Secretary Liu had arranged for the student cadres of the Youth League Committee to meet with Shen later. Hearing that, Shen told Teacher Li that he had no problem on his side for now. Teacher Li said all right, and, while blushing, asked Shen if he was free because she and her sister were moving tomorrow morning. Hearing that, Shen got excited and immediately told her that he was free and would see her tomorrow morning. Then, half an hour later, Shen was about to leave after having breakfast, but suddenly got a call from Liu Menglu. Seeing her name, Shen wondered why she was calling again. As he picked up the call, Liu Menglu asked him what he was doing. Didn't he say he would come to see her in a little while? But it had been more than half an hour, and he was still not done. Shen told her that he was busy and about to go out. He had an appointment with 2 renovation companies to discuss the design plan of the villa. Hearing that, Liu Menglu teasingly asked Shen if he needed a little burden to bring along. Shen told her that since she said herself that she was a burden, why should he take her with him? But if she really wanted to go, they could go together. He was not showing it, but he was impressed by her thinking. Liu Menglu might have been a bit aloof, but she really knew how to provide emotional value. Having a beautiful girl supporting you when discussing plans actually had a better effect. Liu Menglu said all right and told Shen that he needed to come pick her up. She would be waiting for him at the gym. Then, half an hour later, Shen arrived at Liu Menglu's gym. As he came out of his SUV, a black-haired guy approached him and asked if he was also waiting for someone. Guessing maybe it was a woman, Shen told him that was right. Hearing that, the black-haired guy told Shen that his car was not bad, but it was fine for chasing after regular girls. It wasn't enough for high-quality ones. To win over a goddess-level girl, Shen needed to drive a car like his. He told Shen he had to work hard. Shen acted clueless and listened to the man's words. Just then, Liu Menglu came out of her gym wearing a very gorgeous dress. When the black-haired guy saw her, He immediately approached and said, "Menglu, you're finally off work. I've been waiting for you for half a day. Let's go eat. What do you want?" But Liu Menglu apologized to Mr. Fan, telling him she had plans with a friend and had just sent him a message about it. Liu Menglu was thinking that Mr. Fan was indeed very wealthy, but all of that came from his parents. The money he could actually use was very limited. Shen Yuan was different, so Mr. Fan could only settle for second place. Saying that, she walked towards Shen. Surprised, Mr. Fan told her it was okay. He could go with her and would treat her to lunch if her friends didn't mind. But while opening the car door for Liu Menglu, Shen told Mr. Fan that he did mind. Liu Menglu closed the door and asked Shen, "Let's go," completely ignoring Mr. Fan. Seeing Liu Menglu get into Shen's car, Mr. Fan got furious, wondering what was going on. A woman who he couldn't handle even with a G-Class car was now being handled by a guy driving an M9. Both Shen and Liu Menglu left from there. On their way, Liu Menglu told Shen that Mr. Fan was a senior member of their store and had recharged a lot of money. His family was quite wealthy, and the car cost more than 2 million yuan. Shen said, clearly not interested. Liu Menglu continued and told him that Mr. Fan had pursued her for a long time, but she never gave him an answer. Shen said, "Oh," acting like it was no big deal. Seeing his reaction, Liu Menglu got angry and asked him why he was speaking so little today. He was usually not like this. Shen then asked her what she wanted him to say. Disappointed, Liu Menglu said she didn't know, but she felt like he was not very active today. Well, of course she understood her thoughts. It was just that she had more than one choice and other suitors, so she wanted to make him feel a sense of crisis. He smiled and teased her, saying, "Men are only active when they are exercising or about to exercise, so how can I be active if you don't play ball with me?" Hearing that, Liu Menglu got embarrassed and said Shen was annoying. She grabbed his clothes and asked, "Are all men as lustful as you?" Shen acted clueless, and asked if this counted as lust, because he was just asking her to play basketball with him. Hearing that, Liu Menglu turned around and told him to forget it. She asked him about the last time at the cafe. Why did he rush upstairs with Nana as soon as she left? She knew what he was thinking. Shen was speechless, and thought that it seemed Liu Menglu would remember this incident for the rest of her life. He immediately changed the topic and asked how she was so free these 2 days that she had time to accompany him. Liu Menglu told him she was not free. She had just postponed all her private lessons for him. Hearing that, Shen said he felt sorry about it. Liu Menglu smiled and told him that if he really felt sorry, he should treat her to a few nice meals as compensation. Shen said no problem, and told her she could eat the things on his body. Liu Menglu got too embarrassed and asked, "What are you talking about? Shen Yuan, you're just taking advantage of others." Shen laughed and told her that she wouldn't tease him anymore. He asked her to eat first, and then they would go to the renovation company. After lunch, both Shen and Liu Menglu arrived at the renovation company. A woman welcomed them and introduced herself as Fu Zhengmei, the chief designer at Guanting. She asked Shen to sit down and chat. Shen told her to keep it brief, saying he had already mentioned all the requirements online yesterday, and was there today to look at the proposals. Fu Zhengmei led them to the meeting room, and while showing designs, she told Shen that based on his budget and needs, they would provide designs in 3 styles: European, light luxury, and modern Chinese. He could see which one he liked, and they could make adjustments if there were any issues. Liu Menglu looked and told Shen all 3 proposals were quite good. She asked Shen what his budget was. Shen told her it was 20 million. Hearing that, Liu Menglu was shocked. She thought, a villa worth more than 10 million yuan and 20 million yuan to renovate it. If 30 million yuan was spent like this, then Shen's net worth must be at least hundreds of millions. She realized that she had underestimated Shen's strength. She immediately adjusted her clothes, thinking that her previous methods weren't enough, and she needed to intensify her efforts. 15 minutes later, after watching all the designs, Shen told Fu Zhengmei to go with the modern Chinese style. He also asked her to add what he had just mentioned, and said they could discuss it further once the adjustments were done. However, he told her that he had also scheduled an appointment with another renovation company, and needed to compare the final proposals from both before making a decision. Fu Zhengmei said it was no problem, because comparing 3 options was wise. She then asked Shen if he had time tonight because her boss, Mr. Wan, would like to invite him to dinner. She added that regardless of whether a deal was made, they wanted to be friends with him. Shen told her that he hadn't placed an order with them yet, so dinner might not be appropriate. But Fu Zhengmei told him not to feel burdened, because Mr. Wan simply wanted to befriend him. Shen thought for a second, and then agreed to go. Hearing that, Fu Zhengmei took out her phone and asked Shen to add her on WeChat so she could send him the restaurant location. She said this way, they could communicate about the plans better. Shen agreed, and after adding her on WeChat, left from there. Fu Zhengmei saw him off, and was very happy, because she knew that 20 million for the renovation more expensive than the villa itself, could sustain a company with this single deal. Such a wealthy client wasn't just an ordinary rich kid. They really needed to take good care of him. She immediately returned to her boss, Mr. Wan, and told him that Shen had already agreed to dinner tonight. The general manager of Guanting, Wan Renmin, was delighted to hear that, and said that if they could have dinner together, the chances of closing the deal would be greater. They couldn't let this kind of client go elsewhere. He asked Fu Zhengmei if Shen would be coming alone. She said no, and told him that Shen brought a woman who didn't look like his girlfriend. Hearing that, Mr. Wan said, as long as she wasn't a girlfriend, it was fine. He told Fu Zhengmei to remember to invite Su Shuiwei for tonight's social gathering, saying a client like Mr. Chen deserved their company's best. On the other hand, in the car, Liu Menglu was trying to seduce Shen. While revealing her body a little, she acted like it was very hot, and asked if the air conditioning was on in the car, saying it was so hot. Shen asked her, because I don't feel hot. Liu Menglu said she wasn't sure. Seeing that Shen was not taking the bait, she asked him what they were doing after this. Shen asked if she wasn't going back to work, or if she wanted to join him for dinner. Liu Menglu said she was going to follow him around and eat and drink for free. She was going to be his follower for a day today. Hearing that, Shen laughed and told her that his followers were very disciplined. They had to follow him for at least a day and a night. How could they just follow him during the day? Hearing 1 day and 1 night, Liu Menglu imagined everything in her mind and got very embarrassed, saying, "What are you talking about, you big pervert?" But she told him she didn't care. She was going to follow him and wasn't getting off the car. While they were talking, Liu Menglu suddenly got a call from her and Chen Na's mutual friend Qing Qing, who asked Liu Menglu what she was doing. Liu Menglu told her that she was in a car. Qing Qing asked whose car it was. Mr. Fan, who drove the G-Class. Qing Qing was thinking that although Mr. Fan might not be as extravagant as Shen Yuan, who bought 3 million yuan houses at a time, helping Menglu buy a bag or cosmetics shouldn't be a problem. Liu Menglu said no, and told her that she was in Shen Yuan's car. Hearing that, Qing Qing was too shocked and asked, "When did you two do it?" Liu Menglu told her it wasn't like that. Today, she accompanied him to look at the renovation plans. As she knew, he had bought a villa for over 10 million, and was going to spend another 20 million on renovations. Qing Qing was shocked upon hearing that, saying, "This is too extravagant. Shen just spent 3 million and is now spending another 30 million. She thought Chen Na was so lucky to meet such a big gold mine. The three of them had agreed to be poor together, but Chen Na ended up getting ashore first. Now it seemed that Menglu was also going to board this luxury cruise ship. Qing Qing started crying, complaining that one of her best friends was doing well, but now the other wanted to do better than her. Is it because both of them have bigger boobs than me? She wondered. Later that same evening, at a restaurant in Nanjing, Mr. Wan was waiting for Shen. Xiao Yao, Shen's classmate, arrived there. Mr. Wan was his uncle. Xiao Yao asked Mr. Wan if he was also having dinner there. Mr. Wan was surprised to see Xiao Yao and said, "What a coincidence." He told him he was waiting for a client. Hearing that, Xiao Yao thought, "It seems this customer is very important. Otherwise Uncle Wan wouldn't have to wait here in person." He told his uncle that he had a dinner party, and would be back to toast with him later. While walking, Xiao Yao noticed a girl standing beside Mr. Wan. Seeing her, he wondered when Uncle Wan had such a beautiful girl around him. He thought that if only Uncle Wan wasn't his in-law, he would have asked for her contact information. A few minutes later, Shen arrived. Fu Zhengmei introduced her boss to Shen. When Mr. Wan saw Shen, he complimented him, saying, "He is indeed a young and promising person." Mr. Wan greeted Shen and, pointing at Liu Menglu, asked if she was his girlfriend. Shen told him not to get it wrong. They were just ordinary friends. She had just happened to accompany him there today, and her surname was Liu. Hearing that, Mr. Wan greeted Liu Menglu, but she was not happy with Shen's thinking. She wondered why he got flustered just to say she was not his girlfriend. Then Mr. Wan asked them to go upstairs. As they arrived at the dining room, Mr. Wan introduced the orange-haired girl to Shen, saying, "This is our company's design assistant, Su Shuiwei." Su Shuiwei greeted Shen. When Shen shook her hand, he was surprised. Her skin was so soft and tender, her jade-like hands as delicate as if they had no bones, especially her purity, untouched by the world. Su Shuiwei's temperament was completely different from all the girls he knew. Seeing Shen's reaction, Mr. Wan was very happy, realizing that Su Shuiwei had made a good impression on Shen. Now it would be even easier to get closer. He told Shen that today they wouldn't talk about business. They would focus on making friends. He raised his glass and toasted to him first. Fu Zhengmei called out to Su Shuiwei, asking why she was spacing out. She told her to toast to Mr. Shen. Hearing that, Su Shuiwei went to Shen, and while blushing, raised a toast to him. Shen said all right, but Liu Menglu got jealous. She asked Shen why they didn't have a drink together. He told her to stop drinking. Otherwise, who would drive later? Liu Menglu said okay, and agreed to listen to him. She was very happy because she didn't know if Shen Yuan would take the opportunity to make dirty jokes and take advantage of her again, but this feeling of, they are together, was really good. Su Shuiwei again went to Shen and, while blushing, raised a toast to him. But seeing her face, Shen noticed that she couldn't handle it well. He told her she could have tea. He had no issues with that. Su Shuiwei was surprised and couldn't say anything to him. Then Mr. Wan told her to listen to Mr. Shen, as he felt sorry for her for not being able to drink. Mr. Wan told Shen that Su Shuiwei was from South China University. She was a senior and had not graduated yet. Since young people have similar interests and hobbies, they could communicate more easily. He told Su Shuiwei to just add Shen on WeChat, as it never hurts to make friends with a young talent like him. Hearing that, Liu Menglu thought, this Mr. Wan finally showed his true colors. He said he would not talk about business. But in fact, he was laying the groundwork for business everywhere. The little girl is obviously still a virgin. Forcing her to entertain someone is no different from pimping. While Su Shuiwei was adding Shen on WeChat, suddenly Xiaoyao entered the room saying, Uncle Wan, I'm here to make a toast to you. Mr. Wan told him he was really sincere, and introduced Xiaoyao to Shen, saying this was his nephew. He then told Xiaoyao that Mr. Shen was actually about his age, so he could go toast him and get to know him. Xiaoyao said okay, and went to toast Shen, thinking, Uncle Wan introduced this distinguished guest to me, which shows that he thinks highly of me. And the person who can make Uncle Wan wait for him personally must be of great talent. This kind of person must be made friends with. He may not be useful in real life, but he can be very useful when bragging at a drinking party. He turned and said hello but froze when he saw his classmate Shen Yuan standing in front of him. Shen asked Xiaoyao to come and toast. Xiaoyao toasted him but was shocked, wondering why Shen Yuan was the guest of honor of Uncle Wan. When Uncle Wan asked me to toast him, wasn't that the same as asking me to lick Shen Yuan's stinky feet? Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Seeing Xiaoyao's reaction, Mr. Wan asked if they knew each other. Shen said they sort of did. Hearing that, Mr. Wan laughed, saying what a coincidence. He told Xiaoyao that his friend had bought a villa in Green City Qingzhou Lake and planned to spend 20 million with their company for renovations. Hearing that, Xiaoyao's face turned pale, and he asked his uncle what he was talking about. He couldn't believe that Shen had bought a villa and was spending 20 million on renovations. He wondered how Shen Yuan became rich so fast. Was his family mining diamonds in Africa? He thought that Uncle Wan, whom Xiaoyao had tried so hard to please, was now trying hard to please Shen Yuan. In such a short time, how had the gap between Shen Yuan and him become so big? But left with no choice, Xiaoyao decided that he would just lick whoever Uncle Wan wanted to lick. It was no big deal for him to follow suit. He laughed and said, Shen Yuan, what a coincidence. Congratulations. No, that's not right. I should call you Mr. Shen now. Then 3 hours later, Mr. Wan asked Shen if he wanted to go to a bar or sing karaoke next. Hearing that, Shen turned to Liu Menglu and asked if she wanted to go. Liu Menglu wanted to go but hesitated because she had this figure thanks to self-discipline. She had never had the habit of staying up late and drinking in her life. Shen noticed Menglu's nervousness and told her that she better not go because going to bed early and waking up early made her healthy. Liu Menglu knew that what Shen said was right, but she also knew that if she didn't go, Shen Yuan might be seduced away by other fairies. And if there were more fairies to share the meat, she would have less to eat. She knew that once she was not by Shen Yuan's side, according to Mr. Wan's character, his next step would be to get Shen Yuan drunk, and then send Su Shuiwei and Shen Yuan to the hotel. It was obvious at the dinner that Shen Yuan had taken a liking to Su Shuiwei, so under the influence of alcohol, Shen Yuan definitely wouldn't be able to control himself. Thinking all that, Liu Menglu imagined Shen and Su Shuiwei in a hotel doing everything. Imagining that, Liu Menglu started blushing and thought, this should not happen. If they really get to that point, she won't have any fun. She panicked and immediately stood up from her seat, telling Shen that she had to go. Later, at a karaoke bar, Shen was brought over by manager Wan for a few hours. Liu Menglu was sitting on his one side, and Su Shuiwei was sitting on the other side. Su Shuiwei held her glass and was ready to offer a toast, but Shen stopped her and put down her glass, telling her there was no need. They had already had loads to drink this evening. He told her that since she didn't come to places like this often, she shouldn't come if she was not feeling comfortable. It was just work after all. Hearing that, Su Shuiwei was a little disappointed, but thanked him. Feeling Su Shuiwei's helplessness, he said, it's not easy for a girl from an ordinary family to get an internship in a big company like Guanting, and it's probably not easy to let go like this. Just then, Liu Menglu called him from the side, asking why he wasn't bothered about whether she showed up or not. Hearing that, Shen teased her again, saying, Does Coach Liu require my care? There are so many fish in the sea that Mr. Fan with the G-Wagon has probably sent you a WeChat again. Hearing that, Liu Menglu felt a little uncomfortable and asked him why he was bringing up irrelevant things. She was a little disappointed because all her conventional methods were just ineffective attacks. Shen didn't care at all. She wanted to put him in her trap, but it seemed like she was the one trapped instead. Just then, Su Juiwei asked Shen what song he would like to sing, saying she would help put it in the queue if he liked. Shen told her anything was fine. She could pick whatever she liked. Hearing that, Liu Menglu told Shen that he was doing something that wasn't right. That little sister's gaze made it look like she was stressing out of her mind. Hearing that, Shen told Liu Menglu that he felt like her own gaze was very much the same, quite stressed out. Liu Menglu immediately declined, saying, "Not at all. My gaze is only filled with desire, not affection." Hearing that, Shen smiled and told Liu Menglu that this was her advantage. No matter which woman attracts a particular man, the result tends to be the same. Hearing that, Liu Menglu got curious and asked him what that result would be. Shen got closer and whispered in her ear, "It's rolling around under the bed sheets." Hearing that, Liu Menglu started blushing in embarrassment. Her affection points also increased to 68. Shen's way of talking was pissing her off. He always talked her into a corner, but she thought that Shen was at least honest, unlike some other men who lusted for her body only to disguise it as love. While she was thinking all that, suddenly Shen placed his hand on her lap. Liu Menglu got more embarrassed and told him, "That's enough, because there are people nearby." Then Mr. Wan came to Shen and, while pushing Su Shuiwei, asked him to come sing because she had ordered a good song for him. Their singing continued at the karaoke bar until 11. Then, as they were leaving, Mr. Wan complimented Shen, saying, "Brother Shen, I never thought that I'd be able to make good friends with you at my age. We need to arrange more meetups in the future." He then told Shen that when it comes to renovation, Guanting was definitely his most professional option, so he hoped they could cooperate, adding that as his older brother, he would help arrange services accordingly from Guanting for Shen. Shen told Mr. Wan that he had only looked at 2 companies, and their designs were both professional and very competitively priced, so he would definitely consider them first. Fu Zhengmei, who was supporting Su Shuiwei to stand, told Shen that they would be heading back now. Seeing Su Shuiwei's condition, Shen asked about her. Fu Zhengmei told Shen that Su Shuiwei was her apprentice, so she would get her home safely. After they left, Shen asked Liu Menglu if he should help her hail a cab. She asked him what he was going to do. Shen told her that he was just going to get a room there and crash for the evening. Hearing that, Liu Menglu asked him why he would get a room there. Didn't he have somewhere better to sleep? Shen smiled and asked if she was going to take him in instead. Hearing that, Liu Menglu understood what he meant and started blushing. She hadn't planned to give herself up so easily, but her intuition told her that if she didn't take action now, Shen Yuan, this piece of monk meat, was going to be carved up and sold. She suddenly grabbed Shen's hand and told him, "Don't even think about it. I'm not going to bring a man home easily because I'm a prim and proper girl." She said that, but her true feelings couldn't be hidden by the system. Her affection level increased to 75. Shen was surprised to see that because he hadn't done much that evening, and couldn't understand why Liu Menglu had become so favorable toward him. He then took out his phone and asked Liu Menglu where she stayed, saying he would help hail her a cab, but Liu Menglu immediately told him she didn't want to go back. Hearing that, Shen acted clueless and asked her, "If you don't want to go back, where are you going to sleep?" Liu Menglu got angry hearing that and said, "Shen, you're so mean. What do you think? I've taken so much initiative, and you're still treating me like this." Seeing her reaction, Shen laughed and patted her head to calm her down, telling her, "We can pick out a different hotel." He opened the cab door for her. As they sat inside the cab, Liu Menglu wondered if Shen would be gentle. She hoped he wouldn't be as aggressive as he was toward Nana at the cafe. The cab driver was watching her from the rearview mirror with lustful eyes, thinking, her body, her looks, her massive headlights, having money must be great. Then they arrived at Star City's most luxurious hotel, the Grand Hyatt. Shen told the receptionist that he wanted an executive suite and wanted it booked for an entire month. Hearing that, the receptionist said, "Certainly, sir," and told him that the executive suite was $3,688 a night, which came out to $110,640 a month. Liu Menglu was surprised to hear that, and asked him why he wanted it for a month. Shen took out his card and told her, "It's only $110,000 a month." He told the receptionist to put it on his card, and added that he wanted the first room on the 52nd floor. He was spending that much knowing that since Liu Menglu's favorability toward him was over 60, triple cashback was involved too, so this was a massive profit. Hearing Shen ask for the first room on the 52nd floor, Liu Menglu thought he was well acquainted here. Then, as they got into their room, Liu Menglu looked out the window and was amazed, saying, The view here is beautiful. She asked Shen to come take a look. Shen came from behind and slowly touched her. She started blushing. She also felt like she was betraying Nana, but she sincerely hoped that Shen and she would have a good start. As Shen slowly kissed her, he said, "Coach Liu, you're the only one in my eyes. Can we start practicing already?" Liu Menglu said she hadn't showered yet, and asked him to let her freshen up first, but Shen told her to shower later, saying that he would start. Liu Menglu got too embarrassed and asked him to at least close the curtains, but Shen told her that the window was one-way glass, and since they were on the 52nd floor, there were no taller buildings around, so even if someone saw, what was wrong with putting on a show? And so, the two went at it for the entire night. The next day, Shen felt too hot, and because of that, slept all the way until midday. He looked behind and saw Liu Menglu sleeping soundly. He didn't expect Liu Menglu to have such a sensitive body, and was worried that she might have ended up dehydrated from last night. He slowly reached out his hand to her, and she woke up. While crying without tears, she said, "Shen Yuan, you're so eager to start early. We only slept at 4. Do you not care for me at all?" She was thinking that he had to focus more on some key areas in her training, because how could a fitness coach like her be taken down by a thin stack like Shen? Shen gave her a nickname. "Of course I care about you. Normally I continue till the sun comes up, but I held back just for you." Liu Menglu admitted that he was too strong and asked him to let her sleep a bit longer. Then she would give him more when she had a bit more energy. She also told him not to call her Lulu because she didn't want to end up the same way as Nana. Shen said, "All right, Coach Liu," and told her that since she had behaved so well yesterday, he would allow her to sleep a bit longer. When she woke up, they could go out to buy her a car, and he would cover anything within 3 million. Liu Menglu stood up in shock and asked, "What did you say?" "Shen, say that again." That's all for today, everyone. Before we wrap up, I want to let you know that we've recently launched a membership program here, where you can enjoy perks like early access to videos and soon, exclusive content just for members. You'll also receive custom badges and emojis to enhance your interactions. If you're interested, consider joining our membership to enjoy these benefits. Check out the link in the description to join. See you all in the next video.